friend Marsha Easley.
Yes.
She was unable to attend today, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in Atlanta, every year, the people that have moved from Pontiac to Atlanta get together and they have a cookout. So Marsha goes down because a lot of them are our classmates and our friends, and she hangs out. She also took my son, her nephew, and had him go as well. They had a really nice time. So she apologizes, but she had me read this to you. She says, "I'm so very sorry that I cannot be here to meet and present you with your Pontiac Alumni Foundation scholarship. But I want you to know how proud I am of every one of you. The Pontiac Alumni Foundation and our scholarship committee are happy to be a part of your future scholastic endeavors. Once again, congratulations and well done. Sincerely, Marsha Easley, Devin Scott, and Sarah McCall." I'm going to let the real professional people speak.
Well, good evening, Pontiac community. My name is Devin Scott. As the president said, I am the co-chair of the scholarship committee. And I want to say to all you young people, your package, your resumes that you presented to us, we were very impressed. But I also want you to remember one thing. The heart and soul of Pontiac has always been as you. And today you represent that history. And so you take that with you and you carry on with that. There is no limit to what you can do.
Amen. Yes.
All right? That's it.
All right.
No. Let Sarah talk.
No, that's okay.
She always speaks. She's going to speak.
Big dog speaks.
We just want to tell you guys that in celebration of the accomplishment and how much your applications and stuff stood out, the launching of our rebranding is going to be announcing you guys as winners. So that's going to be on our social media and website. So we want to get all of your handles and everything and tag it. So the celebration of you doesn't just end today, that it continues on.
And I'd like to thank the members of the Pontiac School District Board. You all have always had your arms and hands open for us to do some of the things we've accomplished. We look forward to homecoming, and we look forward to hearing from you guys after the first semester, all A's, all B's.
Grab a picture.
Next word.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Now I will, moving down the agenda to a recognition of our elected officials. Good afternoon, State Representative Brenda Carter, and our Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford. Are there any other elected officials with us today? No? Sure.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm sorry my voice is gone. I've been singing all weekend. I just came to give you guys some updates about some important things happening in District 1. On June the 14th, we are having our All Dads Are Superheroes luncheon. That's going to be at the Bold Club from 11 to 2. The guest speakers will be Max Main, Dre Jeter, and the main speaker will be Quincy Stewart. On June the 27th, there will be a grand opening of ribbon cutting for Art Dunlap, which is being repaired on the boulevard. I'm so proud of that because, thank you. Thank you. I did everything I could. Great. So that's important because people talk the talk, but then you have to walk the walk. And one of the things I said is that we were going to have a state-of-the-art park in District 1, and we have that. On June the 28th is the District 1 meeting. We have moved our location. Our new location is going to be at Sunset Boulevard, which is owned by the world-renowned Four Tops Ronnie McNair. But this is the last part why it's important. Each student in District 1 doesn't know that we have a celebration for them. So I came to formally invite you to tell everyone who graduated from District 1 only, District 1 only, and it was either going to a trade school and or college. I have a District 1 open house. It is June the 19th. From 3 to 6. It will be at the Bowen Center. I just need someone to get them in contact with me. It's important because each student gets gift baskets, somewhere even from $500 to $1,000. We don't know what we're going to do, but we need to get a total of all the students who have graduated in District 1 only, who is either is attending college and or a trade school. My direct phone number is area code 248-941-2429. They must show proof that they actually was accepted in the college. That's the only way to be fair. And it's going to be a great shindig. Again, my name is Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach me at area code 248-941-2429 and or 248-758-3017 and or mrutherford@pontiac.mi.us. I thank you for your time, and God bless you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rutherford.
Ms. President?
Yes.
Melanie, you said June 19th. Where's the location?
July 19th.
July 19th.
July.
Not June.
Yeah, okay, July 19th.
July 19th.
At the Bowen Center?
That's Horizon. Horizon is June.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam President,
Good to see
board
you.
members, City of Pontiac at large. It is indeed a pleasure to be back here again, for it wasn't that long ago that I sat with my esteemed colleagues right here. I want to just highlight just a couple things, and I see you over there. You know I see you. I'm watching you, suit people. But, hey, Dara, what's up? I mean, hi. But I want to just highlight some of the successes we did in the last session in Lansing. We eliminated that $18 million debt from the city of Pontiac. We brought EV buses here. We are working very hard to make sure that our teachers have everything that they deserve. But we have some challenges this session because when the budget came across the table, the first place that the current leadership in Lansing hit was education. But then that follows what's going on in Washington. And what I want to say to everybody here is that we've got some challenges that we have to face as a community, as a people, as one unit. We have to recognize the fact that they're going to cut at-risk funding. They're going to cut mental health programs. They're going to cut all of these things. And districts like ours are the first ones to be on the chopping block. So all I'm saying here is a privilege to be here. I spent 8 years on the Pontiac School District Board of Education, and I took the knowledge that I garnered from working on the school district to Lansing, where we were able to work together with the committees, the Democratic committees, to garner a lot of support for public education. So I'm asking my school board members, I'm asking my teachers, I'm asking my administrators, so very proud to see Kennedy graduates. Can we give them another round of applause? That was my pick school. So I enjoyed every minute of watching every one of those young people get their award. But I'm gonna be here. I'm always watching Pontiac. My heart is in Pontiac. And anytime that anyone needs me about anything in education, in fact, I'm doing a press conference tomorrow, at 3 p.m., where we're going to talk about the budget cuts they're doing to education. Just stay tuned. call me. I'm there. And I can give my number because most people know I live at 86 West Yale in Pontiac. And I'm married to Randy Carter, who is the grandfather of Elijah Stacy. So yeah, we had a graduation here, yeah. Same school. You know, he'll probably go to Pontiac. No. Anyway, but my number is 248-521-9632. And like I said, I'm up there in Lansing. I'm one of 148 that's fighting. Well, not all of us, but most of us that you know which ones we are fighting to make sure that we take care of our children. Because it was stated, I think by Terry Covington, she may be gone now, but with me, my number one priority are our children. And one last thing, speaking of our children, wherever you are this Saturday at 3 o'clock, bring your babies out. They need to know their history. They need to know their legacy. They need to know that they're descendants of kings and queens. So this Saturday, the city of Pontiac is putting on a Juneteenth parade. Now, people may not know what Juneteenth means, but Juneteenth is a celebrated holiday where descendants of slaves were given their freedom in Galveston, Texas. And now, because of the work that they did back there, I believe 1865, I stand before you as the chair, national chair of insurance. And every one of my colleagues here have benefited from our ancestors. So bring your babies out this Saturday. Don't let that parade route go down the street and nobody's there to watch them. You're going to have some notables there. The first black lieutenant governor is going to be there, Garland Gilchrist. The first black speaker of the House. The first woman to be the captain of the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. You got some notables going to be there. And our children need to understand, the ones that got the awards today and the ones from Kennedy need to understand that they come from high quality people, okay? Thank you, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you. Okay, moving down the agenda. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Gross, supported by Treasurer Terry. For the approval of the consent agenda items, any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman. I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley. That passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Information from the superintendent and administration. Dr. Leverett, the meeting is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. At this time, I will turn it over to Diane. Diane will provide a report, fiscal year 24-25 grants budget overview, as well as fiscal year 25-26 grants initial budget overview. Diane?
Coming around.
She went around, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am presenting tonight the grants overview for both fiscal year 25 and then what we anticipate for fiscal year 26. In the packet, you should see two different overviews, one for this year and then also one for next school year. So the first one is our grants overview fiscal year 25. We're starting off with the state level grants. You may recall that at the last board retreat, you saw something similar to this, where you saw the awards columns and the actuals columns. Tonight, you also have included what I project, or what we project to be utilized, and then also carryover for next school year. So for state, we have about 21 grants. We were awarded $15.6 million. We anticipate utilizing $9 million, and that leaves us with a $6.5 million carryover. A lot of that carryover is triggered with multiple factors. However, the biggest factor is having ESSER funds and other COVID funds that we needed to utilize first. And then we shift over to our main grants. We do have a plan to ensure that we're utilizing that carryover in an appropriate and allowable manner with summer school and with other initiatives that have been included in these grants. Just keep in mind that a lot of those grants, some of them are one-time, some of them are multi-year, such as the at-risk, and as has been shared tonight, there is anticipated decreases for the upcoming school year, and we'll look at that in the next overview. On the next page, you'll see federal grants. Federal grants, we received $33 million. That's including $12 million of ESSER 3 and $5.9 million of the EPA Clean School Bus Grant, which are our biggest contributors to this, to the federal grants, above and beyond Title I, which was about $8 million. We anticipate utilizing $21.7 million of the $33 million with a carryover of $11 million. This year, we had about $1 million extra in Title I that was not anticipated to be received, but we will make sure to put that to good use with regards to our summer school and after-school tutoring. And then you also see that another contributor to the carryover is the EPA Clean Bus, which is still the $5.9 million that we're looking to utilize for our EB buses. And the final page for this school year, we have 22 local grants. We received $50 million. I'm sorry, not 50 million, $1.1 million in local funds. We anticipate utilizing $747,000 with a carryover of $422,000. The largest amount being of carryover being the Balmer Group grant. And so next year, that Balmer Group will be our last year with $292,000. So overall, we had 60 grants. We, as of yesterday, we have actually 61 because we did receive an additional grant this year that's not listed here. So we received $50.2 million in grant awards. We anticipate 31.6 being utilized and $18 million in carryover.
Question.
Yes.
I was reviewing, I was looking at some of your grants, such as like the Detroit Lions grant and the NFL Foundation.
Yes.
And I see that we're carrying over for the Detroit Lions grant, 3,000?
Yep, so for the
And-
Detroit Lions grant, I'm going to be reaching out to our athletic director to see how we can utilize those funds during the summer with the, any practice, any, that we could utilize that for, it's supposed to be utilized for milk, some type of protein or some type of drink that they can utilize during athletic practice.
And the NFL digital?
The NFL Digital Divide is a grant that was awarded to our special ed program, and Dr. Jameson is working with our IT department to ensure that they utilize that in the upcoming school year.
In the upcoming school year. And the Balmer grant is only to be used for CTE?
So the Balmer grant is only to be utilized for the pathway programs in the CTE, and that is one more year that we have that we'll have it, and we're hoping that we will get additional support from the Balmer Group, and that's to come.
And I'm sorry I didn't ask this in the beginning. Of the 3,000 from the Detroit Lions, as part of that grant, can any of that money be used for equipment for the kids?
No, this is strictly a drink type of,
Training?
for training or for during the school year, whichever one the athletic director.
Or you can utilize it for the Gatorade and stuff like that?
Yes.
You can?
I believe so. I know that milk is one of the ones that they mentioned, some type of protein drink.
And that, yeah. Please get with the athletic directors. I know some things that the football team, because that's what's coming up next. We just complete that, and I think soccer is about finished now, if not. But the next thing is the football and I think spring soccer. Maybe boys, I think. Yeah, please do and see, because that money can be utilized, because I see it been carried over a few years.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Doc.
Any other questions?
Trustee Miller.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I have a few questions. I understand that you said that there's a plan to utilize the carryover. Specifically, the at-risk, and you said that's yearly.
Yes.
And as of current, we have only used 39%, and even as of the projected use is 56%. My concern is, I know I asked this back in February, that there's no expiration dates that are provided so that we know, hey, we got to spend this money prior to this day, otherwise we have to give it back. And especially with the at-risk, being that our district has some different circumstances compared to our neighboring districts. If we're only using less than 50%, how can we better utilize that money to support our students?
So one of the things that specifically about at-risk, we have 2 years to utilize the money, and we have to ensure that, so for instance, in this, we received $4.4 million this year. We had $3.4 million in carryover. We anticipate using 4.4. So this 3.4, this million that we carried over from last year, we have met the criteria requirement of utilizing it by the end of the second year. And we've utilized about $1 million of this school year. So next year we must utilize 3.4 million in order to not lose any of those funds. Another thing that we have with regards to planning for that grant, some of the items that, because we anticipate having a 15% decrease next year in many of our grants, including federal and some of the state ones. And so we had to play around with, okay, we have all these grants. We know what's allowable in these grants. We know what's reasonable and what's appropriate. So we had to play around and stick some of those positions or programs within different grants, including the at-risk, to ensure that we can continue to provide certain services and programs to our students.
Thank you. And the second part to that is, being that the fiscal year will be ending June 30th,
Yes.
are there any grants that are at risk to be, the funds to be returned that we need to spend prior to June 30th?
We don't.
Okay. And you've been very helpful with your explanations, but in the future, if you can, I would like to hear, especially the grants that are soon to be expiring, I would like to hear what the plans are to utilize so we can make sure that we support and get those implemented to support our district.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Diane.
All right. Moving forward to fiscal year 26. So fiscal year 26 looks a little different because we only have the awards columns. And in this one, we'll see the estimated awards. We have the prior year carryover, which aligns to the carryover amounts that you see in the fiscal year 25 overview. And then, of course, the total award amount. For the state funds, what we projected for estimated awards, a lot of these, like I mentioned, we budgeted for 15% less than what we received in this school year. And so, for instance, at risk, this year we received 4.4. Right now, we're estimating that we're receiving about a little bit less than 3.8 million. Another item to note is Section 32D GSRP, which is 5th to last column, or 5th to last row. That one has increased because now we're receiving a slot amount equivalent for 5 days a week versus 4 days a week. And so the amount per student that we receive increases. As you may remember, some conversation that we had at the board retreat, this year we were shy of, we were missing some funds, not missing some funds, I apologize. We didn't meet a certain amount of students during the spring count. And so some of our funds were taken away because the allocation is based on how many students we have. Although we had that many students, the needed students or the required amount of students at the beginning of the school year, because of drops and other reasons, we didn't meet that full amount. And so our allocation was decreased. We were at a deficit for about between 175 to 200,000. We did find a grant that would allow funding some of those costs, the at-risk funds. And so we were fortunate enough that we have sufficient funds in that grant to cover that at least this school year. We don't anticipate having that problem next year because of the increase for 5 days allocation.
With the, when you said we had less, was that a count day thing?
It's a count day thing.
Okay.
So for GSRP, our count is done in the springtime, and that count is done through Oakland schools. And so because we didn't meet that slot amount, they did decrease our allocation almost by $350,000, I think it was. And so we were at a deficit with regards to, we didn't have enough money in that grant to sustain that program for this year.
Okay, thank you.
So for state funds, we have 17 grants, and we anticipate receiving $15 million overall with that $6.5 million carryover. The next page is federal funds. Federal funds, we budgeted 15% less than this school year based on conversations with MDE and different factors that played with regards to the U.S. Department of Education. And so we have 14 grants, including the EPA Clean School Bus. Estimated amount is $9.2 million. Carryover is $11.6 million. Total award is $20 million, $20.9 million. Any questions?
Gotcha.
The last page of fiscal year 26 has to do with local grants. Local grants, we estimate that we'll have 13. Like I mentioned earlier, we've received an additional grant, so that'll probably be 14, and of course, increasing as the school year continues. But for right now, we have an estimated award of $148,000. 18.5 as carryover, and including the Balmer, I'm sorry, not 18.5, 422,000, with a large portion, more than 50% of it being the Balmer Group grant, and that's a total of $570,000. Totals for all grants, we have 44 anticipated, 17.9 million overall estimate new awards, 18.5 million carryover, for a total of 36.5 million. Yes, ma'am.
This may not be a question for you, but maybe a statement. This is for you, Dr. Leverett. My concern is that as I went through the data that you provided, it appears as if we are utilizing less than 50% of free money. And a lot of the times when our district and our students need things, I would like to see, I would like to see a better plan to utilize these funds. Like, for example, the NFL Foundation Digital Divide, there was no award, but there's carryover. That means that we didn't spend any of that money?
Correct.
So the requirements for that, are they that strenuous or?
They're not.
Okay, and you see where I'm going?
Correct. So it's especially for local grants.
Yeah.
One of the things that our goal for this year was to decrease a lot of our local grants, whether it be the smaller ones for 2,500, the 3 million, the 3,000 ones, or even the bigger ones. And so we did decrease quite a few of our a lot of our local ones, and we're still working on that to make sure that we continuously decrease and utilize those funds in the same year that we receive them.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm reading is that we have 5 grants that all have carryover that we haven't utilized any of the money. And I understand, I know that you guys are diligently working to create a plan, but I would like to see a deadline to see what the plan is, because the thing about grants that I know in my experience, you don't ever want to give back free money at all. And if we can utilize that to benefit this district, I would like to see a concrete plan with deadlines of what we're going to do to spend free money that was given to us. And it's just disappointing to see that we have so much carryover. Not disappointing, but I wish we would utilize that money to help our students. Not a question for you, but.
Oh, no. And I agree with you. One of the things that we do intentionally is we utilize that carryover over multiple years, and that sometimes is intentional because we in order for us to sustain our model, we have to have carryovers, a certain amount of carryover.
And I appreciate the clarity. From my experience working with grants, it was like you got it 1 year, you better spend it before that deadline. Every penny or whatever you don't spend, you give back. That's why I was asking about the deadlines, because just based on my experience, school experience, I don't know, but I appreciate the clarity.
Yep, and I definitely, we can add some type of column that talks about a deadline, whether it be a 1 year, 2 year. That way, it's distinguished in here. You can see that we're meeting that potential goal, or if we're not. Yep, for more clarity.
Yes.
Dr. Hannah?
Yes, that would be helpful, because my question was going to ask, what was the deadline for those grants that we had that we're carrying over?
Right.
So they don't expire
No.
in 2026. Well, because now we're going into, this is the 25,
Right.
26. So
Correct.
it's not that they expire in 2026, correct?
Correct. So the ones that we're carrying over into fiscal year 26, those still meet the requirement with regards to carryover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, and that's one of the things I was going to say. If you look at the Detroit Lions grant, it's been carried over for several years.
Yes.
So there is probably no expiration date until the money is gone, right? And so it would help us to look at. But I did have a question as it pertains to that $1 million you got that you weren't anticipating on getting, and you said you could possibly utilize it for summer youth, right? Summer use.
Yes. So right now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But my question is, and I'm okay with, I would like to know the deadline for the usage, and if we could utilize it or take a look at what are the criteria are for that grant to possibly use it to do something else too, and not just stick with one certain things, because we know we can use it for the summer. But can we look at bringing on a staff for the summer to help out to do tutoring, a staff for the summer to help out doing for the summer? You get what I'm saying? Whatever the grant specifies that we can utilize it for, if we can look at other areas outside of just for, whatever you said. It was 2 things that you said you were looking at: summer school and something else. Because I know we utilize a lot of extra money towards summer school. But I'm just saying, be open to look at something else where we can bring someone aboard for that period of time through the summer, use the grant money, but let them know. I'm just saying, Just an idea. And I know it's $1 million, and that can cover a lot of staff over the summer.
But we need to definitely make sure it falls into the criteria for that
That's
particular
all I'm
grant.
saying.
Yes.
Find a criteria, and if it can be utilized for staff to assist in the summer, why not bring them on in the summer? That's all.
President Hannah?
Just
To piggyback on what Trustee Gross was saying, Section 35A9, Summer Reading Program, Code 314. So we carried over $31,301. Again, so our summer program will start after the fiscal, so it'll go into the 26th fiscal year.
Correct.
To improve the success of our summer program, has there been any discussions regarding how we can utilize some of that money for our students for this upcoming summer school program?
So if you look at the grants overview fiscal year 25, there are several grants that have to do with summer school. There's the Section 23G that we're carrying over into summer, the Section 35A9, and the Section 35A5 early literacy. All those grants will be utilized this summer for our summer school, including some of at-risk and some of Title I.
And Diane, when you make that list for the expiration of spending the money, also do a column, an interim check-in. So you've spent X amount, so we can follow that line of spending. So I would like to see that. Follow that line of spending.
Are you sharing, so instead of having one actual, such as it says here, April 30th, you'd like to see certain amounts, different, so such as quarterly or something to that effect?
But at least that would give us an opportunity to follow the money, for me.
Yes.
And then that would eliminate some of that carryover, because we could make some suggestions, seeing where we are with the spending. We could come back to you and say, we need to, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I have a suggestion for that. When we get back to the review of our budget monthly, which we're supposed to, and we were promised that we were going to be able to see the budget monthly. Specific information towards your grants could be added into that monthly review as we look at it. And if nothing has changed, you can just simply say nothing has changed instead of continue to document over and over and over and over and over what you're doing. But if the specific items that she's speaking of, that could be in our review. And then if we decide to continue to have outside board budget study sessions, which I'm recommending, and I'll do that, and that we should do it at least 3 times a year, to have a board study session on the budget before we start the amendments and actual approval of the budget. Because it gives us an opportunity to deep dive into the budget to get a clear understanding of what we're looking at instead of it being presented to us. Now, they have basic information as we look at it monthly, but as it pertains to budget amendments, the grants, because we're near the end of our bonds, we can have a real deep dive look into that at a board financial budget study session. And if we did that 3 times a year, then we don't have to worry about getting this information like we're getting now. So just a suggestion.
thank you.
And then the last item I did want to share was a lot of these grants, especially our federal funds, and a lot of our state ones that are continuously or annually are renewed. We do, one of the requirements of a lot of these grants have to do with only budgeting and spending on items that are specifically in our MyKIP improvement plan. And so one of the things that our system with regards to our school improvement or improvement planning is that we review what's in MyKIP, ensure that we budget for those items, and then as we review and monitor those programs, those initiatives, that we either review them for cuts, review them for expanding, whatever that may be within all these different grants.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Diane?
No.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I do just say thank you.
All right, Dr. Leverett.
Whenever we talk about money.
Thank you. At this time, I will turn it over to Shelby for our 24-25 budget amendment number 2 and our 25-26 proposed budget combined presentation. Shelby.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Shelby.
I'll try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
There. Let's get excited about budget. All right, we got a big night tonight, so there's a lot of information. I'll try to go quickly, but please stop me if there's questions. Thank you for having me. I was able to meet the board one other time during a retreat to talk about some budget information, so I'll hit some of those highlights that we discussed. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Shelby Freyer. I'm helping out right now in a very interim role while Jim Graham, also the interim CFO, I'm not sure what his title is on vacation. But so he'll be back here in a couple of weeks. So this is really his budget I'm presenting tonight. So if there's real technical questions, I'll do my best to answer, but I may have to get with Jim for an answer or to get back with you. I also want to give lots of praise and thanks to Mrs. Wright. She was very helpful at keeping us on track for making sure we didn't miss any documents and resolutions were done correctly. So thank you very much for your help. Any questions before we get started? No? Okay. All right, we'll dive in. There's a PowerPoint and we're going to maybe, okay. Technical difficulty. Okay.
If she's working on it.
Technical, okay, good. Do you guys have it up in front of you also, just because it's really tiny numbers? You've seen it, okay.
Yeah, we have it here.
You have it, okay.
It was emailed to us.
Awesome, thank you. While she's working on the presentation, there's going to be 3 documents tonight so that you guys can get ready. There's the PowerPoint that we'll go over, but then also 2 one-page documents that show the 24-25 final amendment and then the 25-26 proposed budget. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between those. Some of the times when you cut and paste onto a PowerPoint, the numbers are just so small that you can't actually see what the budgets are. So we tried to make them separate, but of course made it more complicated for. All right. Okay, yep, that works, as long as you guys can read it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 24-25 budget year, without reading every single detail on this slide, a couple of the highlights. You can see the revenues increased by just over $9 million, largely, in fact, for that bus rebate program that the district was able to receive this last year. And then also a decrease of what we call our TAN borrowing, our tax anticipation note borrowing is down for this year for one-time savings. Those were kind of the 2 large contributing factors for additional revenue this year. And we'll talk more about the TAN here on an upcoming slide. Slide 3. Perfect. Expenditures increased also, of course, because of the, again, the electric bus purchase for about $8.7 million. And also there was some dollars that came through late this fiscal year in about March through the MIPSERS program through retirement that we'll also talk a little bit more about. It was 147G funding that we'll see on a future slide. But something that the district couldn't anticipate because the state didn't give us that information until well into the fiscal year. So we'll see that too coming up. And then the next slide, again, some of the things actually that were just presented in the grant conversation. The district receives grants in really 3 different ways, from a local perspective, a state perspective, and also a federal perspective. And so tracking all of those dollars gets a little bit tricky. State dollars come in directly through state aid. So whether we spend it or not, the money's coming to us every month, and we book what's called deferred revenue. And so one of the changes to our budget was because of that basically revenue that we were able to push off into a future year, similar to a federal revenue that we classify as really carryover. The big difference is that federal funding is oftentimes reimbursement based, meaning you have to spend it to get it back, where state revenue, they just give it to you. And then if you don't spend it on appropriate things, you can't actually classify it as revenue. You put it on what they call basically our balance sheet. So those contributing factors were kind of the big items that really changed our budget significantly for 24-25. And if you want to pivot back to that other document, for the actual 24-25 amendment here, you'll see the third column over. So the budget was passed, of course, right before the end of last fiscal year. An amendment was done, second row there that says number 1, and what we're looking at right now to approve is amendment number 2, or that third column over. Revenues are coming in at about $131 million, which is wonderful. And you'll see total expenditures very close to the same at $131.4 million. We are adding to fund balance this year. So for folks that are paying attention here, we have essentially revenue that exceeds our expenditures for the 24-25 school year. So we're planning to put in about $300,000 into fund balance, which is positive news. And it gives us a total fund balance right now projected to just over $17 million. It's about 15.6%. Which is great for the district. Typically, CFOs about this time are very conservative in their estimates because we still have really 2 months past June 30 to do all of our accounting. So we do a lot of guessing. We learned in our training session, state aid, for example, comes in the months of July and August, and all of those dollars actually accrue back to this last fiscal year. So at this time, a CFO is making a bunch of assumptions, a bunch of guesses to end this current fiscal year. And we're going to talk more about that as we talk about the 25-26 budget. Any questions so far on the 24-25 amendment? All right. We're going to skip on through here to slide 7, where we're going to talk about why we're here tonight, the big item, the 25-26 general fund budget, along with the other subsidiary budgets that we have. We're also going to talk about our tax levies later on in the presentation. The next slide is the purpose for a public hearing. Of course, is to gather input from the public before the board decides. So the whole point of this is that you get all the information. There's an opportunity for a public comment before the school board will actually vote up or down on this budget. The next slide just goes over a quick outline of all the things that we're going to talk about today. And then the next slide, perfect. So as I mentioned, this time of year gets a little bit tricky for finance folks because there's really a cycle that we have to kind of fall within and how we make our guesses. So this is a visual I've used a lot of times that really just shows the start of a new fiscal year is July 1. The hard part about it is that, like I said, we have the next, really summer months, the next few months to do all of our accounting work, book all of our accruals, and really end the fiscal year. Auditors arrive, end of summer, beginning of fall, and don't tell us our final numbers really until it's due November 1st to the state. So it makes it really tough to know how you're going to end this current year when you're not going to know till November. So you're still making a lot of guesses. Well, of course, to start planning for next year, you have to know how this year ends. So not only am I guessing for next year, I'm still guessing right now. So it makes it even more complicated. And then throw in the fact that the state budget has a different fiscal year, and they're October 1st through September 30. And so they haven't decided how much they're going to give us, which is over $20 million worth of our total budget. So all of our grant revenue that was just mentioned for 31A or 31AA, we don't really know. The governor put out her budget. Senate's kind of given its opinion. House hasn't done much with it yet to know where they're going to fall. So a lot of districts right now are really guessing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about MIPSR's funding, but that, in my opinion, is the most volatile kind of revenue source for us right now, and one that we should be paying attention to, especially as it goes into next year. So we'll keep talking about that one. But we're at right about here right now in this cycle. So we've made the budget, we're presenting it. Right now, we're still working on closing out this current fiscal year, and once we have that number, that's when we start doing our budget amendment and true things up, usually about December, January timeline. So it's just a constant cycle. As soon as you get the budget done, you finish the audit, and you're right back to budget. So it should be always working on really 2 fiscal years at any given time. All right. This was the timeline that I think you guys have followed really in the past. This should be a familiar slide for you guys. The only change is the very last line here. I'm not sure if the plan is still to adopt on the 23rd. I think it probably depends on the outcome of this meeting and if folks have questions or we need to get more information. But obviously, this budget has to be passed before June 30 to meet the state law requirement. The next slide is just a high-level view. The state requires that we have all of our accounts in what they call a fund accounting order. So they dictate to us how to separate all of our accounts. And one of the things that we'll focus on today is that this fund account here, we have to keep all of our pots of money separate. So it's not like your home account where you can pay your car and your house out of the same account. We have to make car payment out of this account and a house payment out of this account. Everything's got to be separate and detailed so that we can submit that information back to the state because they track every single dollar that we receive. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too. The next slide just shows the different accounts, and I'm sorry this is small, but you can see the general fund revenue is separate from athletic revenue, separate from our special education, any debt service funds or anything else that we might levy, a sinking fund, things like that are all kept separate, meaning they're all accounted for individually and tracked very independently. The next slide I think you've seen before, that's just again a visual of those debt structures. The next slide will be kind of tiny here, but this is just a copy, and folks here received a copy of our, an example of a state aid payment that we would receive. One of the areas, and I'm not sure if you can blow this up, but one of the areas on here, you'll see at-risk funding, that's a state grant that comes through, unlike a title grant that would be federal. These columns right here, where it says MIPSers, and there's, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them, right. These are all for employee retirement costs, and they change every year. And it makes it really hard to do your budget when you don't know what the state's going to give you until they pass their budget, which sometimes could be in September, right? And we're already a couple months into our fiscal year, and we've got to hurry up and make a bunch of changes or calculations to what amounts we're going to get. This 147G line, this employee healthcare reimbursement, they went back and forth between the House and the Senate for months. And finally they said, we're going to give you this money, but give it right back to us. And so it was really a flow through. The same thing for 147C funds that were a portion of it. So the districts don't get to keep that money. We get it in our monthly payment, and then we have to turn around and give it right back. And so sometimes it skews what looks like how much revenue we actually get because we have to just turn around and give it right back, which is a whole nother presentation. Okay. So a couple of things to note up on here on the top of the payment. Thank you for working the map here. If you go all the way to the top here, you'll see this comes out monthly and it's available on Department of Education's website. This is our state aid membership, this 3768.93, and that's how we receive our funding from the state. So they pay us on a per pupil basis. So the 9608 is the amount that they would basically multiply that times that, and it gives us a number. We are out of formula, so what we receive is generally either retirement funding or grant funding that comes through our monthly state aid payment. So just something to watch. They also in here assume our local revenue. So a lot of times when I'm working with a new district, I'll pull the last payment just so I can get a feel for enrollment size, budget size, how much local revenue we're going to be receiving or the state's expecting us to receive. So it's just a really helpful, get a lot of information out of one sheet, from the Department of Education. Okay, we're going to jump back over to our other one-pager document for our 25-26 budget. This one's a little bit bigger because it's not so many columns here. But what you'll see is, and we're going to talk about some assumptions, but for the 25-26 budget right now, anticipation of revenue is about $118.3 million. So I'm all the way over on that final column that says 25-26. Anticipating expenses of about $117.4 million. Increasing our fund balance by $876,222, meaning we're planning to increase our fund balance next year for a total fund balance of $17.9 million, which is great. We're going to talk about some of those assumptions that really got baked into the budget because we know things change every day. So when this budget was done, a month ago, we now have better information, or we know new things that are happening operationally that will impact our overall budget. But right now, this is the budget that we're asking for approval on today. So if we jump back to our slide, sorry, it's the last jump. We'll stay with the PowerPoint. Thank you. So a couple of the things, Jim did a really nice job putting a bunch of detail, and if I read all of these, we would be here a very long time. So I'll make this presentation available publicly for everyone to look at every detail, but just so folks have a general idea of what's happening, I tried to hit some of the highlights. So on the expenditure side, for wages, only settled contracts were included or baked into this budget. So if a contract has not yet been ratified and those wages haven't been increased or given out, those are not included in this budget. Also, as I mentioned, MIPSR's rates on here, he did an estimate because we don't have any information. The last budget that was put out was April 29th by the Gov's office, and then Senate had their opportunity to go through, so we really don't have any more information since April. So we had to do a bunch of guessing on what we think we might receive for the MIPSR's retirement coverage. And then also, the next slide, he just highlighted no new positions were included in this budget, except for a couple teaching positions, it looks like, because they're anticipating about 50 new students of growth. So no new FTEs in this budget. The next slide. This happens quite frequently and oftentimes is the reason for grant carryover is vacancies. So if Title or 31A, for example, has a grant and it's to fund an additional summer school teacher or a tutor, and the district can't hire that person, well, that money doesn't get spent, and therefore that money drops back into carryover or potentially deferred revenue, and it carries on to the next year until you can fill that position. So what's been budgeted here is just shy of $1 million and what they think will be vacancies for this year, which I'm sure is probably normal for this district, or what would be on average a carried over and vacancy cost on the budget. So he also listed out here, I think, the positions right now that we're showing, at least back in May, vacant at that time. And then again, further down on the next slide, hitting those big picture items again, still between 15-16% fund balance, which is wonderful. MSBO, the Business Officials Association, recommends between 12 and 15, so we're great. We're in a pretty healthy spot. Some districts really get excited and they want to have this huge fund balance, but we're not in the business of making money. We're in the business of educating kids. So there's a sweet spot between making sure your borrowing costs and having cash on hand is great, but not having so much money that you're just sitting on piles of cash when your students need services, right? So 15% is really healthy and wonderful. Again, we're still waiting to hear back on the governor's budget and what's going to happen from a state perspective. And next slide. Because certain contracts hadn't been approved yet, the anticipation is that those will get approved and those costs will have to go back into a future budget amendment, so just so everyone's aware. And then I think that's it for general fund. Any questions? I know I went through that really quickly, but you guys have heard it before, so I didn't want to. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Any questions, trustees?
I know I talk really fast. I tried to. Okay, good.
No, that was good, Shelby.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep moving on. So the next fund on your slide is the food service fund. So again, it's that separate pot of cash that we have to track everything. Later in the agenda, there is a SFE contract renewal that we'll talk about a little bit more. But all it is again, kind of an in and an out. So these budgets, I think you tried to cut and paste into, so you could put into a PowerPoint, but they're pretty tough to see. Estimating revenues of just over $4 million and expenditures nearly matching for a slight increase to fund balance. Again, you shouldn't be making money off your food service fund. You don't want to lose money, but certainly if you're carrying a big fund balance, the state actually requires that you have a spend down plan to invest in either new equipment or new programs for kids in the food service program. Slide 24, Student Activity Fund is about $97,000 of revenue and also matches expenditures, same thing, $97,000. Student activity accounts are usually managed at the district level. So if students put together a prom fund or whatever it is, popcorn sales, things like that, it's money generated oftentimes by students or sometimes PTAs and PTOs, not often. And then again, those expenditures go back out the same way they came in, usually at the building level. So estimating just shy of $100,000 for that fund. And then the bond funds, the next three sheets are really the bond funds. Series 1, we still keep and track separately. So when that bond was issued, we have expenditures that hit that fund, and we maintain those in a separate account so that we can report back to whomever might want to know how we spent those funds and did they align with the bond language that was passed. So same thing, you'll see Series 1, 2, and 3. Series 3, we're getting ready to issue now. I think the anticipation is in the next couple of weeks to issue that last kind of tranche of bonds for about $17.6 million. And I'm going to jump ahead to slide 32, sinking fund. So one thing that we're going to talk about here with the next tax form, this is the last year that the district has authorization to collect sinking fund dollars. Right now, it generates about $3 million for the district every year, and I'm sure folks here could talk about all the wonderful things it goes to fund every year and how needed it is. There was some conversation from the administration side about maybe, potentially putting it back up on the ballot for a no new mills renewal, just to keep it going. It is shy of like 1 mil. I think it's 0.8. We'll see it on our form here coming up. So it's not terribly expensive. We also have some tax rates to show that it really won't impact the ratepayer too much or the homeowner. So we'll talk about that here in a second, but I just wanted to make sure I mention right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to go back before we got too far ahead to page 42, bond 2020 Series 1 debt fund, fiscal year 2026.
I think I might have different numbers, but I'm with you.
On the side, on the right side, it says 42. Their numbers are different?
Her presentation.
Okay.
Which series?
It's the one that it has, okay, possibly go up one slide, down, like the next slide behind that one. That has the breakdown of that, because this slide is right before that one. Look.
You're looking at Series 1, 2, or 3?
Series 1.
Series 1, okay. That would be slide 26.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I didn't know your numbers didn't match up with mine.
No, that's all right.
Okay, so help me understand. The variance column, does that mean that we're in the negative 1,418,941?
Nope, just the difference between the 24-25 and 25-26 budget. So that variance captures just the difference between those 2 years.
Okay.
So not in deficit at all.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Good question, though. Keep moving? Okay. All right, so sinking fund, we're going to talk about more in just a second. And Series 3 we mentioned. Great, let me get caught back up here. Okay, let's jump to slide 41. So this is also what we call kind of truth in taxation. It's where the public has an opportunity to see how much we're going to go out and levy this year. All of our millages are voter approved, meaning we don't put anything on that the voters haven't already said, yes, we agree to. So this is that opportunity to really showcase what they are and how they work, and also when they'll expire. So if we look at slide 43. Sorry. I think it's down, looks like 3. Yeah, slide 40. There it is. Okay. So every municipality, schools, cities, counties, has to put together what they call the L4029, and it's a dreaded form, but everyone has to do it. So this is where we say all the different, the voted debt or potentially non-voted, depending on if it's an assessment, would go on this roll. And then also we say how much we want each local municipality to collect on our behalf so that we can collect that revenue. It's an important deal for us because we're out of formula, meaning we rely on this money to operate our school. And so on here, you'll see that the sinking fund millage expires in December. And so oftentimes what happens is a board might decide that they want to go up for a non-new mill renewal. They don't want to have to ask voters for more money. They just want to keep status quo. So it's kind of the sweet spot to be able to get that renewed. Typically elections are held in November, May, and August. Not always, but that's usually the cycle. you have an opportunity to go up 3 times for a renewal. So if it doesn't pass in November, you can ask again in May or potentially August. A lot of times renewals are much easier than a new millage passing, so it might be something the board wants to consider doing and working on. Again, so this would be the last year we get to collect those dollars if the board decided not to renew that sinking fund, which again is about a $3 million impact to this district. So that form is on here. The next slide just shows, which is actually kind of a neat slide Jim threw in here, the millage rates for the county. You'll see that Pontiac is the lowest, way at the end, which is wonderful, right? I mean, that's a very affordable place to live.
And if I might, this is the year that we have 2 chances to go after a renewal, the August primary as well as the November election. So that's something we should consider. But we need to, in the past, we need to get the language in a timely fashion to get it out to the people and let them know that it's not going to, really cost them a considerable amount of monies. And I think it's best we should look at getting that done within this time frame to put it in August, because they're utilizing some of our buildings for the election, which we don't have to always pay to have our own election. And then if things get complicated in August, we can also go back in November.
I think Seegers, it's too late
Yeah, it's too late.
for August.
So many weeks before. So it's too late for August?
It's usually 12 weeks before, like 12 Tuesdays before the election.
My math is off. This is June 9th.
Yeah.
The primary is August what?
That's okay. We'll be ready. We'll get our language together, so we'll be ready in November.
I think the request, was if you guys are up for it, I'm happy to have language that you can take a first look at, I think at the next meeting. You don't have a
Yes.
meeting in July, correct? So at least that would give you an opportunity to
We can call a special meeting in
Take a look
July
at
if the chair wants to.
I'll work on getting language as soon as I
Yes,
can,
soon as you
potentially
can,
for the
that's
next
better.
meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful, yep. And then the next slide, again, is just a quick data point. Again, the school tax.
We have another question
Oh,
for
I'm
you,
sorry.
Shelby.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Shelby. I wanted to just follow up with Trustee Gross's question and comment. So from what I'm hearing is that we are looking to present something to the community for them to vote on to support the school district, correct? Yes, in August and September, well, not August because we missed the deadline, but
November.
September. November. My frustration is that we have to do better with planning ahead. Because not only did we miss the deadline for August, we also did not prepare our community by having talking points, by educating them, by being transparent. And how can we go to our community and, not to you, I'm not asking this to you. How can we go to our community and ask them for money and we have not given them the opportunity for them to ask us questions, for us to explain to them why we want this, and how did we miss a deadline for something that we want to ask from our community? It's just, I'm sorry, it's just frustrating to me because we have to do better. Like we can't miss, it's imperative for the success of this district for our kids, not for us, for our kids, for us to be on top of stuff like this. Like how we miss a deadline. I don't understand how that happens.
Well, so technically the millage is good through December, so you haven't missed it yet because you'll have an opportunity in November for it to be renewed.
But we missed the August one.
Yeah, if you wanted to be ahead and have a second shot.
Why are we
Yeah.
trying to catch up with one opportunity when we could have had 2, August and November?
Sure.
I don't know what's customary or what you guys have done in the past, but 2 opportunities is always better than 1. So why are we just counting on, okay, yeah, our people going to support us in November when we haven't even talked to our people? That's not fair. That's doing a disservice to our community that we're seeking support from. I'm just asking, my suggestion to the board is that we take into consideration the respect of our community that I think we all live in. We need to take that into consideration. We got to be more diligent with the upcoming deadlines, and we know, and we're educated in that.
Thank you, Trustee Miller, for that. And I think it's clear that we had a turnover in our business office. So as to why, I don't think we intentionally missed a delay, or I don't think this was intentional, but because there has been a vacancy in that space, which is why we're working with an interim at this point, that could have something to do with why we're receiving this information at this point. Thank you. Shelby, we have another question?
It's just a suggestion that we still move forward with educating the community.
Absolutely.
To come up with something and start those town meetings, getting that, so by the time November comes around, they would have had adequate time to come back once or twice where we had to go find answers and then provide them. So I think it would be advantageous for us to continue.
Absolutely, and I think that's what Shelby mentioned, why she would get working on talking points now,
Yeah.
as opposed to delaying it any further.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
thank you.
I don't want to speak for the operations folks, but I know the list of bond projects or eligible things to be completed and repaired is extensive and very much exceeds what we have authorization on the bond side. So I'm certain a lot of those projects would spill over to sinking fund. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot or speak for anybody, but I think there is lots of plans in place of identified projects that need those dollars that would become, pretty easy for talking points to.
Yes, thank you.
put
VP
together.
Bowman.
And just a historical sake, we always, of course, a lot of trustees are new from the time we passed the bond and millage, but there was always thought to go back out. And then, let me ask, so we would be asking for the 00.7980.
Renewal.
So that would not increase, that would just renew what the current residents are paying. So it doesn't increase, but it just renews what they're already, the space that they're already at, correct?
Yep, so you'd have that choice. You could say, yep, I want to renew it, no new mills, keep it the same, or you could say, we want 2 mills, we want 3 mills, whatever it is. So that's absolutely a board decision to decide.
Well, if we leave it
what they
where it
want.
is.
It would be a
that-
yep,
That 3 million that you spoke about.
correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
But the key to that is, if I may, the key to that is that you understand it. But the information has to be shared because that's been the issues in the past to the community, because the first thing they hear is increase or non-increase or just a renewal. But it comes from this table on explaining to them that, yes, because that's the issue we ran into before. Because it's not going to increase anything in their taxes in their home. But they need to hear that from us. And that's the key. And that's why I say it's important that we get the verbiage out, and we could have done it in August, and that's fine. I'm not saying deadline. I'm not blaming anybody or anything. But we can still get it out in November. But the key is coming from this table, what it actually would do, and the benefits. Not just the costs or non-costs, but the benefits. And when the people hear that, it's generally those who go out and vote, and they understand. Because we've not, and I'm just saying, for history purposes, we've not had an issue in the past because people had a clear understanding because it came from this table. But I don't want people to think, y'all laying off people, but we still ask y'all for money. That's not the case. That's not what this is about. Two different fruits, oranges and apples, but it has to come from this table. And we need time to do so. That's all. Right? Because when they hear that increase, and it's not an increase. That's, yeah. Right. So, thank you. That's
Yep,
all I want to make
absolutely.
sure.
Yep. I'll work with Dr. Leverett and make sure we get the right information at the next meeting.
We'll provide the information with the board with updates.
Sounds great. The last slide, I think, is just next step. So again, today is the 9th, where we're having the official public hearing.
Yes.
Opportunity for public comment after this. Of course, the next things to look for are the state budget passing, so we can see what's going to happen with our retirement funding. That's going to be a big deal for us, along with the audit that's due November 1st to the state, and that will let us know how we end our current fiscal year. So really, we want to shoot for kind of our first budget amendment December, January, depending on all the things going on. And that really helps true up kind of where you're at. So your study session that you mentioned, great time to do that.
Yes.
Dive back into the finances and also start looking at next year and planning, because you can never be too far ahead of that budget planning. And then again, the final amendment would be done in June. So there's the presentation for 24-25 and 25-26. Happy to answer any questions.
Public? Yeah.
Open up, it's your decision to open up for the public.
All right, thank you. So for those here in the audience, if you have any questions, now would be the time for you to ask your questions as it relates to the budget. Can you go to the mic?
Or don't ask. You know I love you. I see. I just play.
Hi, my name is Miss Henderson. I just want to know, can we get a copy of that somewhere? Because I just want to see. I can't see it from the,
Up here,
yeah.
do you typically post, is it in the board minutes or?
We just, website. It's on the website. We do, yeah.
No, it's not. It's all from last year. So, I just want a copy, that's all. I have to see it.
So the old one from last year is posted?
Oh, once we adopted it, be posted? Yeah, once we adopted it. Yep.
Okay, yes, Miller, trustee Miller.
Thank you. In regards to that, what is the requirement for us as a district to post certain things that should be available to public, like the budget, contracts? What is the date requirement for us as a district to have this posted to our website for public review?
So not necessarily to the website, the law requires 6 days prior to the public hearing that this document become available for public inspection. So it gets posted typically in a local newspaper, and then also a hard copy is available typically at central office or in the administration. I'm sure there was a copy printed in the lobby, but typically it's available, has to be available 6 days prior to this actual hearing.
So, just for clarity, you said 6 days prior to the public hearing?
Correct. So not necessarily online, just has to have a hard copy available for public. So for example, whatever the newspaper ad said where the budget would be located is where folks are able to come in and view that document.
Does anyone have that available, just for clarity for the public, where they can access it now? Because as of date, but she said it doesn't have to be on the website, correct? It just has to be accessible to the public. So at this point, for the public, where is it accessible for our public?
This time,
It's supposed to have been out there.
it's not out.
For them
It's
to
not
review it
available at
tonight.
this time. But it will be posted.
It was supposed to be in hard
Okay.
copies out in the front, so the people from the community to have a copy of it, to review it as we go through the public comments. We did it last year, it's supposed to be there this year.
If anybody want a copy of the budget, they can see Miss Cynthia Wright in administration to get a copy of it.
She's right.
I just asked because I want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence as a board to make public knowledge to our public and accessible to them. That's why I was asking.
We'll give it a couple more minutes for our, those in the audience, if you have any questions regarding the budget. Or trustees, if you have any other questions.
I do.
Okay.
Seegers, correct me if I'm right or wrong. Can we we can't go forward with approval of this budget unless the public had the opportunity to review it and make comments. I think that's the law.
No, they have to have the opportunity to give public comment, which they have.
In order to comment, they have to have a copy of the budget
They have to have it accessible to them, yes.
And if there was no access to the actual budget itself to have comments, we cannot vote on that tonight. Am I correct? I'm just asking what's the state law?
I'm not confident that there wasn't something accessible to the public.
I just said the whole budget is on there. Nothing about that was stated tonight is printed for their review.
And to follow up with Kevin, if I'm requesting formally the MCL state law that dictates specifically what we're supposed to do for our public, because I do not want us to be in violation. So please, some Attorney Seegers, provide me the MCL law, I'll look it up myself, so that we are compliant with our obligations to the public. I do not want us to not be in compliance.
I'm just asking. I don't know if it's a state law, but I know.
No, there's a law that says it has to be available to the public
to the
6 days
public
before.
by the time before the vote
It
is
is.
made.
And it always is.
And it has not been.
It's not now.
Am I correct? I'm just,
I'm not
No,
sure.
you are correct.
I'm just making sure that we were just told the whole budget is on the website and there's nothing solid outside for them to review. Generally, we have hard copies for the public to take a look at the budget, to be able to ask the questions at the time of public hearing or public comments.
I didn't hear anybody say there was nothing out there for review.
There's nothing out there.
Oh,
I
I'm
haven't
sorry.
looked myself. I'm just saying.
I was told
Nobody has told me
there's nothing
that.
out there to see.
There's nothing out there.
So the law requires, not to split hairs here, But when the ad goes in the paper and says, hey, the budget's going to be presented on this night at this location, 6 days prior to it actually hearing, the document itself has to be available for publics to come in and take a look at. So it doesn't have to be 50 copies provided to everybody, just one copy available in a public location that folks can come in and take a look at. My understanding is that that happened 6 days ago. Now, I wasn't here 6 days ago to see that myself, so I'll rely on central office folks to verify that, but it only has to be accessible ahead of time, not necessarily the day of, because we're presenting it
But
now.
accessible within 6 days. That's what I'm asking. I want to make sure. So the accessibility was there 6 days prior to.
Correct.
Please provide me, yes, because I don't want to hear this later. And I'm not accusing anyone. I just want to make sure that this board is compliant. So if the state law says that 6 days prior to June 9th, which is today, the public hearing, that we should have had documentation for our public to not request, but to be accessible to them, please just reassure our public if it was there. I'm not sure, but from my knowledge, it wasn't. Please reassure our public that, in fact, we were compliant and give proof that we were compliant in what we were supposed to do according to the law.
That's all I want.
Thank you.
And proof could be provided if they would just tell us where it was located, and that would end the discussion.
Hi, Heidi, can you?
I can verify that the ad ran where,
That's all we want to, that we're in compliance.
Hi. I can confirm that the ad ran in the Oakland Press prior to 6 days. Well, it was actually, I think, 12 days in advance, that said that if anyone came in and asked for the budget, that they would have access to it. I cannot confirm if anyone came in and asked for it. Now, I do know in the past, when people came in, they could either, if there was a copy printed, they could ask for it. If there wasn't a copy printed, they could ask for one and a copy would be printed, or someone would come into the business office and have access to it. So I cannot confirm, but I do know the standard practice has always been, if someone comes in and asks for it, whomever is at the front desk, which would be Ms. Burkett, she has always been, every single time, knows the rules, knows how it works, goes and gets it. But the ad absolutely ran, which did tell people we are absolutely compliant that that ad ran. I have proof of that.
And thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarity, Heidi. I guess I'm looking for some clarity from the board, from Attorney Seegers. From what my understanding of the law is, we need to make it accessible. And having to put somebody out of their way to come in, have to stop and ask for a copy of the budget is not making it accessible, nor is it on our district website. So how are we making it accessible to our, I'm just for clarity, how are we making it easily accessible or accessible, whatever the law states, to our public when they have to come in, seek somebody out and ask for it? That's not accessibility. Or is it? Is that accessibility? Is that what the law states? Because from my understanding, that's not accessibility, but I don't know. I would like some clarity if someone could give me a definite answer on what we were required to do to make it accessible to our public.
In the past, I know, and this, I don't know what it is currently, you'd have to ask Attorney Seegers, but in the past, as long as it was accessible during business hours, meaning that we had here in the public building, being our administration building, just like if you go to a library, you could go and see a document during business hours, that was compliant. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot tell you what, in my law of the press classes are old, so.
Attorney Seegers, can you provide me some clarity? And good point, Heidi. But when you go to the library, if you want to see something, you go pull it out. You don't have to seek down a librarian to get the information that you're seeking. So what is our requirement as a district, very specifically, if you know the law? If not, I'll look it up myself. What is the requirement of a district to make what's supposed to be public actually accessible to our public? It's not on the website. It's not printed, accessible. What does the law very specific, and I'm not badgering, but I need to be very clear, because my frustration is that it's not us. Yeah, we get it through email, But what about our public who follow and is concerned about where their bond money or whatever money, however the district is doing? How are we doing? Are we servicing them? Or are we being negligent to the public that supports this district, that's been living here? That's my question. What does the law specifically say, and were we compliant?
I think you said it a few times, but basically the law says 6 days before, we have to, make sure people have access to the document. And from what I'm understanding, there was a publication indicating it was accessible here. And I do not know if anyone came in and actually looked for it, but that's been the past practice where people have come in and they've actually accessed the document. That may have happened, as far as I'm concerned, over the past week. So, hopefully that answers your question.
It doesn't, but in the future, my suggestion would be that we follow the letter of the law. If it says accessible, meaning that somebody can come in here, walk in that office, whether Ms. Burkett is there or anybody is sitting there, they can pull it up or easily go to our website 6 days prior and pull it up for their review so that when they come to the meeting, they have the questions at hand instead of having to come to the district. That's my only recommendation in the future for our next budget review or hearing, anything that's supposed to be posted public, that we post it public for our people. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Heidi. Are there any other questions regarding during public comment for our budget?
So are we
Okay, we're going
satisfied
to
with the
close.
fact that the community had the opportunity to review it? Are we satisfied as a board to go forward with it?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not.
In the past, we have had copies of this budget printed outside the night of public comments so people can review it until it's time for them to make their comments. That's what we've done in the past. Why it wasn't done this year, I have no knowledge. But in the past, we've had copies of the budget printed outside for the community to have, to physically hold and to read. And we even brought copies to people that wanted to have one that was sitting out here. So are we satisfied as a board to go through with this process? I'm asking the board. I just want to hear from two people.
I'm going to say no, because as a community member, if I wasn't sitting on this board, my first line of defense is to go to our website to get myself updated on what's going on. I shouldn't have to leave my house, come to the district, ask somebody, wait for them to print it out, and then I get a chance to read it and then come in here to listen to it. That is a disservice to me as a community member outside of me sitting on this board. So absolutely not. I am not satisfied that this board has done our due diligence to make our community aware of what we're doing here. I'm not saying it was anyone's fault. I'm just saying we owe our community that, period. We cannot continue or start, we can't start a habit of discounting our community. And I feel like for older adults, for people that are handicapped, that is not making it available to them. If they have to get out of their house, get in the car, come down here and ask somebody to print it out. No, I'm not satisfied with that. That is doing a disservice to our community.
So then my next question would be, if I may, Madam Chair, how would it affect us if we were to adjourn this and delay this until the 16th, the following board meeting, as it pertains to our timeline, or do we have to have something special called? Because I'm not comfortable with not going forward when I know what we've done in the past as it pertains to the community getting the understanding of the budget. Because then we're going to turn around and ask them to approve a renewal and then possibly approve a bond, and we're not doing our due diligence. I am blaming somebody. She may not, I am.
Because I don't know who to blame. If I knew who to blame, I'd call them out.
But I'm not understanding why we've not done this. And this young lady asked the question on where's the budget. And I remember last year, at a renewal, someone asked for the budget. We brought them copies. We brought them copies here. We did. So
to answer your question, so you legally have till June 30th to approve the budget.
I'm sorry?
You have till June 30th to approve the budget. So if the board wants to wait an extra week or 2 weeks, whenever that next meeting is, to approve that budget, that's perfectly fine.
I'm just asking.
The only thing I would suggest, the L4029 form, if the board's comfortable with approving that, the sooner we can get that to our municipalities. They send out tax bills for July 1.
Yes.
So
That
if we
has
can
to
get that piece out, that would be wonderful. But the actual budget amendment and budget could absolutely wait till the next
Has to
meeting.
be because we got to get a tax bill.
Okay. Trustee Treasurer Terry?
So,
And then trustee.
I just, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong, this is our second reading or the first?
This is the first for the 25-26 budget.
We're asked to approve the budget amendment today. They're not doing their job. Always, man, they kill me with this. They blame us for everything.
So I think
No,
the
this is-
the timeline was a little bit crunched this year because of lack of Billy CFO being able to present at your meeting. So
Yeah.
kind of the first preview was at the board retreat, and then now the public hearing, making it available. I'm not sure who is available for the next meeting, so I just want to make sure the board knows. If you have questions, please email them to likely Jim or myself, so we can get those answers. If the community comes to you with a question, we can get those answered before the next meeting.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, just Treasurer Terry. So for clarity purposes, you were asking if this was, we were talking about the 25-26 budget, whether we can postpone approving that budget until our June 16th meeting, correct?
No, approval of the 2024-25 budget amendment.
That's what we're asking to postpone?
It's the public hearing, like the first, am I wrong, trustee Gross? Is that what you're stating?
Let me look at this. We're asked to approve the approval of the 2024-25 budget amendment, approval of the L4029, which you say is important, which is a separate issue to vote on that we need to do, and approval of proposed budget 25-26.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about here, the proposed budget of 25-26, which the public has not had the opportunity to review, correct?
That's the only thing that has the requirements of the 6 days, correct?
That is correct. So we're looking at just the approved proposed budget of 25-26. How would changing that deadline to next week affect the actual approval of the budget if we didn't do it today?
You have it to
You
the
say we
30th.
have the June 30th to do it.
So again, just for clarity purposes, just to clarify, we are saying that if we want to allow the public to review the budget for the 25-26, we will postpone the approval of that until our June 16th meeting. Yes, the 16th. Yes, Attorney Seegers.
I'm thinking maybe just for just a little extra caution, maybe to the 23rd.
Okay,
And I'm thinking maybe even publish again, that is going to be another hearing on the 23rd. And so you have another 6-day period.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Just for good measure.
Okay, but what we're saying is on the agenda, we're still moving forward with the approval of the 24-25 budget
Yes,
amendment
that's
number 2.
And the
only thing-
4029.
Yes, okay, I just wanted to
And
make
there
sure
is a
that we
regular
were
board
all
meeting.
clear,
There's a
because there's a
regular
lot
board
of
meeting on the
talking going on, and it's making things a little confusing. So yes, I totally agree, that part, we can make a decision to table that until the June 23rd board meeting. All right, trustee Dooley. Oh, trustee Miller.
For the record, Dr. Leverett, humbly, I'm requesting a deadline, a date of when the, this budget proposal will be up and available on our website. I would like, please, to be provided with a date of when it will absolutely be there for our public. It will be posted to our website, please. Thank you.
Okay. Did you have a question too, trustee Julie? Okay. All right, so continue on with the agenda. Dr. Leverett, back to you. I think Pontiac FSMC.
Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
Me again. Okay, so as we talked about, this is the standard renewal for the Southwest Food Service Excellence, or what we call SFE, for our food service program. Department of Education has a very prescriptive process that's followed to select a food service vendor. So this is year 3 of potentially a 5-year contract. This is kind of the standard renewal sheet. What we'll do after that, you'll see on here kind of the flat increases. Those were already determined in the RFP process 3 years ago. So all this is doing is saying SFE is on board with renewing at the rates they agreed to, and us saying, yes, we want to continue using them as a vendor. After this, and the board approves, should they wish to make a motion and approve this, we'll go through the state system to let them know that we've locked in again to this vendor for just a regular rate renewal. So pretty standard form. You guys should have seen this the last 3 years. Happy to entertain any questions if there are any.
Any questions, trustees? No? Okay. Thank you, Shelby. All right, Dr. Leverett. MSHS.
Excuse me, this is the 25-26 MHSAA Annual Membership Resolution. Membership resolution for the year August 1st, 2025 through June 31st, 2026. Junior high, middle, and senior high schools or your school system which are to be listed as MHSAA members and receive MHSAA mailings during the 25-26 are Pontiac High School and Pontiac Middle School. Enrolled as members of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Incorporated, a nonprofit association, and are further enrolled to participate in the approved inter-school athletic activities sponsored by said association. Funding NA. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the 25-26 MHSAA Annual Membership Resolution for the period of August 1st, 2025 through July 31st of 2026, and the membership resolution is attached.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, trustee? Yes, trustee Miller.
Just for clarity, so our current contract with Michigan High School Association School Board, no, that's not it, MHSAA Athletics, there's not going to be a lapse, so it at least extends until July 31st, and then this renewal will be August the 1st, 2025?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the next one?
Okay.
Did you too? Easement of Pontiac High School?
Okay, at this time, I will turn it over to Attorney Seegers. This is the easement at Pontiac High School. Attorney Seegers.
Good evening. The City of Pontiac plans to upgrade the traffic signal at Arlene Avenue near Tennyson. As part of this project, it has been found necessary to acquire a public easement at 1051 Arlene Avenue, the Pontiac High School building. The proposed easement at PHS is a critical component of a broader infrastructure improvement project aimed at enhancing traffic safety and accessibility in the area surrounding the school. The easement would allow the city authority to maintain and operate upgraded traffic signal equipment at a key intersection adjacent to school property boundaries. Beyond daily school operations, a safer and more efficient traffic pattern benefits families, staff, and visitors attending events, meetings, or extracurricular activities at the high school and middle school. The estimated compensation of the permanent easement is $8,710 based on a broker's opinion of value and constitutes the estimated fair market value of the property interest. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the easement at Pontiac High School, 1051 Arlene Avenue, for an estimated compensation of $8,710.
All right, thank you, Attorney Seegers. Trustees, any questions?
I do. I just want some
Yes.
clarity, just to make sure I'm following you.
Sure.
So what I'm reading and what I'm hearing is that they're going to pay us $8,710 to put the easement on there. Is that correct?
Well, the easement is essentially an interest in the property. So easement is not something they put on the land. It's but for the interest in the land, they are paying us $8,710. What they're physically putting on the land is a device to assist people when they're leaving Pontiac Middle School to actuate the light turning, green to red, depending upon the traffic patterns. And it's a state-of-the-art piece of equipment that will go into the ground.
So you said that in interest of the land, so are we giving up part of our land for this easement? And if so, how does that benefit the district?
It benefits the district because we get a state-of-the-art actuator for purposes of safety when people are exiting the Pontiac Middle School parking lot. That's our benefit.
But we're giving up some of the land that we own, correct?
We're not giving up the land, we're giving up an interest in the land. In other words, it gives them the ability to go onto the land, to put the equipment down into the ground, and occasionally come back on the land when it's necessary to service and repair the device they have put in.
So they're not physically obtaining part, like ownerships of part of the land. We're just giving them permission to be on the land.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, all right.
All right, thank you very much. And that was it. All right, moving down to action items. Can I get a motion for the approval of the 2024-25 budget amendment number 2?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman for the approval of the 2024-25 budget amendment. Any questions?
No question, just a comment. As I stated, I just don't have a firm understanding of exactly what is in the budget. I have reviewed it several times, and just as a result of that, I just don't feel comfortable with it for me as a trustee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
No.
Trustee Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley
No.
and Trustee Gross.
Yes.
And that passes 5-2.
All right, thank you very much. Can I get a motion for the approval of the L4029 taxation?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by trustee Gross for the approval of L4029 taxation. Any questions? Yes, trustee Miller?
No question, just a comment. Again, same thing. I'm going to repeat myself. I just don't really have a firm understanding, and I know that we will do preventative measures in the future, but at this point, I just don't have a firm understanding of what we're voting on, so I don't feel comfortable with it, but thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call.
Trustee Miller,
No.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley. Trustee.
No.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
And President Hannah.
Yes.
That passes 5-2.
Okay, thank you. Approval of Pontiac FSMC contract removal rate agreement for the 25-26 school year. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross and supported by VP Bowman for the approval of the Pontiac FSMC contract, I read it right. Renewal rate agreement for the school year of 25-26. Any questions? Trustee Miller?
Yeah, I have a question again. Just making sure that I'm clear and the public is clear. From what I'm hearing is that the city will be putting in this state-of-the-art light. What about any future repairs? What is it?
That's not what we're talking about.
What should we talking about?
The food service.
I apologize. I will ask that question. I jumped ahead. My bad.
All right, any other questions? Roll call, please.
I'm confused. Treasurer Terry,
No.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley,
No.
Trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
and Trustee Miller.
No.
4-3. That passes.
All right, thank you very much. Next on here is approval of the 2025-2026 MHSAA Annual Membership Resolution. Can I get a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Support. It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Dooley, for the approval of the 2025-2026 MHSAA Annual Membership Resolution. Any questions? Roll call.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, and can I get approval of the easement at Pontiac High School?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross and supported by VP Bowman for the approval of easement at Pontiac High School. Any questions?
Oh, that'll be me. So now that we're actually on topic, I caught up. Just to be clear, so what I'm hearing is that they're going to install this state-of-the-art equipment to make it safer for our students when they're crossing, okay, right? Any future repairs or anything like that, is it written somewhere that we have access to, that they maintain that, or does that fall back on the district?
It is, all those expenses are borne by the city of Pontiac.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
And you have that, is it in writing?
Yes.
Okay. We got to support ourselves and support this district.
That's right. All right, roll call, please.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. And can I get a motion to table the approval of the proposed budget for 2025 until our June 23rd meeting?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Dooley and supported by trustee Gross to table the approval of the proposed budget 2025-2026 until our June 23rd meeting. Any questions?
Yes.
Me or you?
Go ahead. You're probably going to answer my question.
Not a really question, just a statement. Again, for the record, before the June 23rd meeting, at least 6 days prior to that, I would like a date with a deadline on when it will be, and it has been posted to our website for our community.
Also,
Trustee Gross.
point of order.
Go ahead.
Is there some way we can convene to go over that for our questions that I may have? Or should I just, because we can't send it out without.
Or we can have you get in touch with, if Shelby is available, I don't think Jim is available, so that you can talk to the source and ask your questions that way. Okay. Trustee Gross.
Thank you. My comments are only to the community that we're making this decision to give you the opportunity to review what it is that our expectations are for the upcoming school year. As you can see, we're filled to capacity to the wall. It's highly important that you understand what it is that we're doing at this table. And the budget is one of the main things that we have to make sure that is getting done. So now, I say to those in the community, the listening audience, those who are out here, it's highly important that when this is posted, when it's available for review, you can come get a hard copy. Take a look at it. Be here to ask questions. Don't make assumptions, because when you make assumptions, then we begin to run into problems. Take a look at it. It's the upcoming budget for the next school year. It's extremely important that you review it and have questions. That's all I ask, is that you show that you care where the money is going for your child. Period. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. Moving down to regular working agenda, Board of Education for discussion items. Neola policy updates. Attorney Seegers.
Sure. So before you now is the second reading of Neola policy updates for policy number 0131.1, 5320, 5330.1, 5350, 8320, 8510 and 8640. The board had its first reading of these policies at its last meeting. I will read the background rationale. School board policies serve as the foundational governance framework for district operations, ensuring consistency, legal compliance, and transparency in decision-making. The Neola Policy Service provides comprehensive, up-to-date policy recommendations that are aligned with federal and state laws, as well as best practices in education governance. As legislation and educational standards evolve, it is essential for the board to routinely review and revise its policies to maintain compliance and operational effectiveness. Neola's policy updates incorporate recent changes in state and federal laws, judicial decisions, and regulatory guidance. Updating the board's policies accordingly ensures that the district remains compliant with current legal mandates and reflective of sound educational practices. The Policy Committee and Administration have reviewed the proposed updates and are recommending that all of the proposed updates, as listed below, be adopted by the Board of Education with the noted modifications and option selections as presented to the Board of Education in final form today. It is the recommendation of the Policy Committee and Administration that the Board of Education approve the following policy updates from Neola as presented, numbers 0131.1, 5320, 5330.01, 5350, 8320, 8510, and 8640. This is the second and final reading, and if you all approve this tonight, these policies will be adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. From our policy committee, do you have any comments or questions? Yes.
Just, VP Bowman, can I speak on behalf of the policy committee?
Yes, please, and thank you.
Because you know I have something to say. I just want to say that in addition to the updates from Neola, when we met, we really took a deep dive into reviewing these policies line by line, and we removed things and added things that were or were not applicable to this district. So, and we all know that I read them and reviewed them line by line. So I feel confident, and I'm excited that we have the opportunity now and meet as a community, as a committee, to review these policies so that they can apply to what we're doing as of date for our district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next on our agenda, City of Pontiac Youth Recreation and Enrichment Summer Neighborhood Playground Program, MOU. So I will share. The City of Pontiac Youth and Enrichment Summer Neighborhood Playground Program, MOU. The City of Pontiac Youth and Enrichment Program, in collaboration with the Pontiac School District, is launching the Summer Neighborhood Playground Program to enhance access to safe, well-maintained, and engaging recreational spaces for children and families throughout the community. As part of this initiative, the city will utilize the playgrounds located at Alcott Elementary and ITA during the summer months when school is not in session. Activities that will be offered include fitness and health, basketball, dance, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, math, droning, kickball, flag football, reading, tutoring, and a young authors program. This partnership is rooted in a shared commitment to child wellness, community engagement, and neighborhood revitalization. The Neighborhood Playground Program will provide supervised recreational opportunities, encourage physical activity, and foster positive youth development in a safe environment. It is particularly beneficial for families who may have limited access to transportation or nearby parks, helping to ensure that every child in Pontiac has a place to play, grow, and connect with peers. By opening district playgrounds to the public through this coordinated effort, both the city and the district are maximizing public resources, strengthening neighborhood bonds, and promoting a culture of shared responsibility and pride in our community spaces. The program also supports the district's broader mission to serve as a community hub and reinforce positive relationships with residents and local government. This collaboration exemplifies the partnership to improve quality of life and create lasting impact for the children and families of Pontiac. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the City of Pontiac Youth and Enrichment Summer Neighborhood Playground Program, MOU. And I think I saw Tanisha here. Did you have any comments or anything to share as it relates to this? No?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am just in hopes that this happens. It's been long awaited, and just piggybacking off of everything that you just said, it's time, and it's just for our youth in the community, and we are truly about the youth in the city of Pontiac.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustees, did you have anything to say? Yes, comment? All right.
I think it's a great idea to do this. I'm kind of disappointed not to hear that Peace Academy would have been utilized, because as we look at demographics of the students that are more at risk or underprivileged, I think that sector would have been better served. And if, in fact, there's any way that that can be added, I would definitely, even if I had to come out and help, I think those students that live in those housing projects tend to need a little more service than some of the other areas, because Alcott is adjacent to a little more, and that's what I want to say. I think when we look at things that will benefit, let's look at let's dive a little deeper into the demographics and what affects. We know they're all in the poverty, but at the same time, some are a little deeper than others.
You mean the Frost
Thank you,
building?
trustee.
We're not talking about the building, we're talking about the students.
No, I'm saying using that building to
Yes. For that area.
provide that area.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Trustee Miller.
Tanisha, I know you named twin. I know you sat down, but I'm very excited. I remember when you presented this to us a few meetings ago. I'm very excited for this program to be successful for this district and for our community here. I just want to receive confirmation that that the district has done everything on our part with staffing, with accessibility, for the partnership, that we have 100% done everything on our part to make this program successful, to support them. Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Excuse me, point of order. I have a question, and I'm not sure if it goes to the chair, president, or Dr. Leverett. Is there any way possible to get Frost included into this program? Because it appears that we would have the authority to do that. I'm sorry, I'm talking about our buildings.
Well, no, this is just for the outside use, it's not the internal use, and their ask was for
To use the bathroom as well. My question is not to her, it's to us. Is there any way possible that we can work in concert with the city to be inclusive of those students that would utilize that area? That is my question.
And at this time, this program, we're just doing this program at the two schools that were mentioned. That area was not one of the areas that they had asked for. Now, going forward in the future, if they're wanting to expand to other schools, then that's something to be determined based on their needs for the program. Thank you. All right. Yep.
Thank you. Just wanted to add, the reason why Peace Academy is not in there is because we currently use Murphy Park. And so Murphy Park is adjacent to, yes, right there. And the shelter that we use, we have a shelter at Murphy Park versus the other parks we don't. So that's the reason why. Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, now if we can move on down for the approval, our action items. Action item A, approval of the Neola policy updates. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Dooley, supported by VP Bowman for the approval of Neola policy updates. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes, and Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Next, can I get a motion for the approval of the City of Pontiac Youth Recreation and Enrichment Summer Neighborhood?
Yes.
So moved.
So moved, I'll take it. You support.
Support.
It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by Trustee Dooley for the approval of the City of Pontiac Youth Recreation and Enrichment Summer Neighborhood Playground Program. Any questions? Trustee Miller?
Not really a question, just a request for the record and a statement. Like I said before, I'm very excited for this partnership. And my request is that we either get some literature out to the parents and the students, or post it on our website, kind of blast it out so that our community knows about this program. And we've talked about it here and we've mentioned it here. My concern is that we get this information out to our community so that our students that they can utilize that and it can be successful, so we can do this continuously. However you see fit, Dr. Leverett, to get it out to our parents. I would just like to see something available so the parents can know.
Work together to come up with that.
A calendar or something so they can know. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
That's it. All right. No more questions? Roll call, please.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Absolutely.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley
Yes.
and Trustee Gross.
I'll make it unanimous. Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Tanisha. All right, General Counsel, Human Resource Items. Is this you, Dr. Leverett? All right.
Okay, at this time, I'll turn it over to Ashley, and this is discussion and action for the central office position name change, as we had discussed during our board retreat, and we brought this matter to your attention. So here we are. Ashley.
Good evening, everyone. To better align with common practices and similarly sized in neighboring districts, the administration is recommending the following title changes effective July 1, 2025. Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources to be retitled as Executive Director of Human Resources. Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance to be retitled as Executive Director of Business and Finance. These changes are in title only. There will be no modifications to the responsibilities or compensation associated with these positions. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the title changes as specified above, effective July 1, 2025.
Thank you very much. Trustees, any questions? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Leverett.
Ashley. The professional services contract renewal for pediatric health consultants.
Yes. So the purpose of this contract is to provide physical therapy and occupational therapy services to our students with disabilities as specified by their IEP, individual education plan. Federal and state regulations require that PT and OT services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The contract does have a price increase for hourly employees being employed by this company for the 25-26 school year. The rate for the physical therapist is increasing by $2 from $66 to $68. And it's a proposed increase for the occupational therapist from $65 to $68, increase of $3. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with Pediatric Health and the Pontiac School District, effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Expense amount for the 25-26 school year is $300,000.
Thank you very much. Ashley, any questions? Yes, Trustee Miller.
My question is, we've had several discussions regarding our special needs, special education department with the compliance aspects of it. So This contract with the pediatric health consultants, they will consistently provide us with the service that we need. So we'll be compliant in that area with meeting the requirements of IEPs and things like that.
Yes, this is one of 4 contracts that will allow us to be in compliance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next one?
Point of order. I
Trustee
just
Dooley.
want to make a comment, so it'll go on the record, how I felt about the change. The change of names, it would seem to me that the rate would change as well.
Are you talking,
I'm
Trustee
talking about
Dooley,
the change of the assistant superintendent to exec, and the other ones, it would appear that those titles carries a certain, if I will, esteem, and their wages accompany that title. So to be brought down, it would appear that that would decrease as well.
Okay.
That's just for me on the record, my thoughts.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
You want to speak to that?
And you're absolutely right. It depends on their background and experience that they bring to the work. That is correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next I have the professional services contract renewal for BlazerWorks. The purpose for this contract is to provide ancillary services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, psychology, speech and language, social work, and nursing services to students with disabilities as specified by their individual education plan. Federal and state regulations require that ancillary services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. This contract does not have a price increase for the upcoming 2025-2026 school year. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with BlazerWorks and the Pontiac School District effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Expensed amount for the 25-26 school year is $1,500,000.
Questions?
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No. How many employees do we have?
Well, I think with BlazerWorks, it might be about 14 FTEs.
Okay.
It's 14.
14.
Pediatric is about 3 or 4.
Okay.
4.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Miller?
Just for the record, I want to be clear. So I know we got a few more to go, okay? And I'm gonna keep asking you, just for clarity, we've been down some positions in our special ed department. So with contracting with these professional services, would that make us closer to being fully staffed so we can meet the needs for our students with IEPs and things of that sort?
Yes, and it's not to say that we still continue to look as a district to see if we can find internal. This is just something in the meantime to ensure we're in compliance. So if we are able to hire a social worker or OT in-house, we will still continue to do so. But this just allows us to make sure we're in compliance until we can do that.
And they will be diligent on keeping us staffed to where we can meet the needs of all of our students and be compliant with their IEPs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Trustee Dooley, you have a question?
This goes to Dr. Jamerson. The last time we were present and you gave a presentation, I may be wrong. I thought you said we were staffed. We were pretty much, after we hired the last person, that lady, your supervisor of special ed, and then you said you had people in place. They weren't necessarily certified, but they were certified. You gave something to that nature.
Yeah, this is just a renewal.
Right, oh, I wasn't here that day.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As Ashley's mentioned, stated that
We have the vacancies, but they are filled with contract staff as well as subs. And then we also have some pairs who are teacher of records. So we try to there's no vacant positions where, there's a person in the position, but it's not a direct hire. So therefore, if we have to leave it on the book as a vacancy, we can't say that the position is filled if it's not filled with a certified direct hire person. So my statement was, we don't have any positions that are unstaffed. We have positions we have vacancies. We have quite a few vacancies. We have like 30-something vacancies, but they are all filled with a person. A person.
You good, Trustee Dooley?
I was wondering if she could.
Okay, Trustee Miller.
Thank you for the clarity, Dr. Jameson, because leaving the retreat, because I remember you said that we had like 30-some vacancies, my concern was we weren't providing the services that our students need. So I appreciate the clarity saying that it's somebody there, but it's just not a direct hire of the district.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you. Okay.
I think I'm on Metro EHS now?
Yes.
Okay. The purpose for this contract is to provide ancillary services such as speech and language services to students with disabilities as specified by their individual education plan. Federal and state regulations require that speech and language services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. This contract does have a price increase for speech and language sessions provided by this company for the 25-26 school year. Currently, the rates are $55 per session, and they are requesting the rates to be increased to $65 per session, which is a $10 per session increase. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss and approve the professional services contract agreement with Metro EHS and the Pontiac School District effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Expensed amount for the 25-26 school year is $130,000.
Okay, trustees, any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. It's not for you, Ashley. It's actually a statement. I'm very much in support of any services that we can contract through to provide the level of care that we need for our students with IEPs and things of that sort. My concern is that some of us receive a lot of communication, especially from our special needs parents, that they're not receiving the services that is dictated in their IEP. At some point, I would appreciate an update or some type of data that shows that we have contracted with these people, with these services, and what percentage of our students are receiving their services as indicated with their IEP. I would like to receive some sort of data, if appropriate, some sort of data that shows that we are increasing our diligence with supporting our students with IEPs.
I have a question. How many employees are we hiring? I mean, how many does this?
So Metro EHS is a bit different. They don't come to us. Our parents take the students to the sessions. So they have a number of staff members available. I think this school year, about 55 or 60 students went to the Metro EHS sessions. We're hopeful that that number will increase so that those students that's interested can go to the sessions and have that in-person, in-face speech and language services.
Okay. And sorry. And I know when we were at the board retreat, we also talked about how we would receive support from Oakland schools. Was it regarding speech and language in this area?
I'm not 100%.
I'll have Dr. Jameson expound on that. But as Dr. Jameson is coming, let us all be mindful of the percentage of special education students that we educate in Pontiac School District. Per the state requirement, any student that has an IEP, we must also provide a free, appropriate public education to them. With that being said, one of the limited resources that we have is in our hiring staff. We have worked diligently, and thank you, Dr. Jameson, and your staff. It is just not enough. So we have to be mindful of that, and we have to continue to have conversations about how do we work creatively within the stipulations of what the law says a student must have services in their IEP. So it is challenging times. Staffing is very difficult, but we are which is why we utilize the services of these contractors who are vetted and meet all of the requirements to be able to do that. So I just wanted to share that before you go ahead, Dr. Jameson.
Sure. And to add to what Dr. Leverett, our numbers continue to increase. So that's a struggle as we hire, because we are working closely with HR. I have a tour scheduled for tomorrow. We had one last week for OT. We had a special ed teacher who we did a tour with last Thursday at Whitman, an EI teacher. So we're continuously looking, recruiting, hiring, but as they're visiting with us, they're also visiting with another district. So, and we just had a school psychologist who accepted an offer. Ashley, I don't know if Jelena told you that just happened today. So we're constant, but we also, as we are hiring, our numbers are increasing. So as our number of SPED students are evaluated, the percentage, I would have to show you the percentage of our increase for this year. I would share that with you, of an increase in the request for evaluation, special education evaluation services this year. It was just crazy, ridiculous. And that's because of the needs of the students that are coming in the door. But to your question, the Metro EHS, they provide speech services, speech and language services for our early childhood students. So that's our early on and our PEACE students. So this school year and this summer, because we also owe compensatory services. So for this summer, they will be providing services for our compensatory for early on and speech. And Oakland schools, they are working closely with us. We are a partnership, we're in an intergovernmental partnership agreement with them where we have Anthromed. That's a contract agency, but it's through Oakland schools, and other districts are part of this intergovernmental agreement as well. And we got a social worker through them for this school year that filled one of the vacancies. And I'm interviewing right now a speech pathologist who they referred to us. So Oakland Schools is working with us for our early on program. We are right now we have like 28 kids that we need to evaluate. And so Oakland Schools is working in partnership with us because we just don't have the staff. We've been trying all year to get 2 early on teams going. Every time we would hire two people at one position, a person would quit. And they quit because of the workload. It's a lot of work when you're evaluating a birth to 3-year-old child. So Oakland Schools is, in answer to your question, they are working closely with us. They're even providing staff to do the evaluations for us to help us get caught up with these 28 students. Okay. So they are working closely with us.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Trustee Miller.
Just for clarity, the staffing, the professional services that we're contracting through, being that that's a critical need for the program, can they supply staff on a consistent basis for that specific need for the intake, correct?
Yeah, for birth to 3-year-olds?
Yeah, will any of the people that the services that we contract through, can they provide a consistent staffing for that, because that's a critical need and that's where we're backed up at?
We contract with them. We do a yearly contract with them, an annual contract with them. So the contract is actually read maybe from July 1st to the end of the school year. We have staff who have committed to that contract, but there's nothing in that contract saying that doesn't say, in the contract it says they can give a 3 weeks notice. So they'll be contracted for a year, but they may not stay a year, so the contractors, they have to send us another person to replace them. So it's no way that you could make it mandatory that someone stay, with us the whole year.
No, not mandatory. I was just trying to see if we can feel the need that you need for your department with one of our staffing contracts.
Yeah, and they work with us closely. We communicate 3-4 times a week and making sure that we are staffed, trying to get someone to us to fill whatever vacancies we have. We have several people, seriously, that are working with the district and trying to make sure that we are, this sounds funny, but fully staffed. But, have a person in that vacancy, I should say. But all of the contractors, you may get another contract. I'm always looking at, other contracts. Other contractors, other agencies, because we do get solicitation. And my first question to them, okay, you're contacting us, but do you have someone immediately available? So they do work with us.
And I appreciate the clarity. That was my next question, was what's the turnaround time? So if someone does vacate the position, how long does it take for the company to send somebody else so that we don't have a lapse in the services provided to our student?
Sometimes it takes, a couple of weeks. Sometimes it takes a month. If it's a lapse in the service, that's where the compensatory comes in at. We provide the services. If a child doesn't go without services throughout the school year, without the district providing the services to try to make sure that they reach their IEP goals and objectives.
Thank you for the clarity.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's it. All right, Ashley.
Okay, last but not least, professional services contract renewal for Cindy Rivers. The purpose for this contract is to provide speech and language services to students with disabilities as specified by their individual education plan. Federal and state regulations require that speech and language services be provided to students as stipulated in their IEPs. This contract will ensure the continuation of services for students who qualify from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. This contract does not have a price increase for the hourly employee employed by this company for the 25-26 school year. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education discuss the professional services contract agreement with Cindy Rivers and the Pontiac School District effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Expense amount for the 25-26 school year is $55,000.
Okay. Okay, you done? Okay, you're done. I do have just another question. So are the students going to this organization too, or no? Are they?
She's in-house. She's in site.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Now we're moving on down to action items. So I'll just read each one. Can I get a motion for the approval of the central office name change?
So moved.
Support. It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by Trustee Dooley for the approval of the central office name change. Any questions? You have a question?
Point of clarity, will we also include what Dr. Leverett was in agreement that we will look at qualifications, and it should be noted that there could possibly be a change in wages? I'd like that noted for the record.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
VP Bowman?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley?
Yes.
Trustee Gross?
Yes.
And President Hannah?
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of the pediatric health contract renewal?
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Dooley for the approval of the pediatric health contract renewal. Any questions? Roll call.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
VP Bowman?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley?
Yes.
Trustee Gross?
Yes.
President Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of BlazeWorks contract renewal?
So move.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman for the approval of the BlazeWorks contract renewal. Any questions? Roll. A question, trustee Dooley?
Great to me what that was again.
I can't hear you.
What was that?
She wants you to read what the actual proposal is. For
What was the proposal?
BlazeWorks is for the ancillary services for physical therapy, occupational therapy, psychology. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
VP Bowman?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley?
Yes.
Trustee Gross?
Yes.
President Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of Metro EHS contract renewal?
So move.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman for the approval of the Metro EHS contract renewal. Any questions? Roll call.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley?
No.
Trustee Gross?
Yes.
President Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
And VP Bowman?
Yes.
That passes 6-1.
Okay. Thank you. Moving down, can I get a motion for the approval of Cindy Rivers' contract?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by trustee Gross for the approval of Cindy Rivers' contract. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Dooley?
No.
Trustee Gross?
Yes.
President Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
VP Bowman?
Yes.
And I'm voting yes. That passes 6-1.
All right, thank you very much. Operations maintenance items. Dr. Leverett?
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it over to our interim director of facilities, Marvin Beasley, Harrington Elementary Schools, the infrastructure upgrades with the paving of the parking lot.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Well, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, a little tired.
Oh, you all right, man.
Tonight, we're going to bring you the Harrington Elementary School infrastructure upgrades for asphalt paving. Background rationale is proposal was requested to mill the existing parking lot and basketball court down to 2 inches to accept new 2 inches asphalt surface. Bullet number 1, previously approved cost to crack, fill, seal, restripe the parking lot and basketball court. The approved costs are just shown in the breakdown of the quote. Funding source, account numbers, 2020 bond series 2. Recommendation is that it's recommendation for the administration for the Pontiac School Board of Education approve Harrington Elementary School infrastructure upgrades asphalt paving at the cost of $155,312.08.
Thank you. Trustee Dooley.
Marvin, when you guys did the initial estimation of the project, this was not included for, you guys redid Harrington, am I correct?
Yes.
And this was not under consideration, this wasn't part of the monies?
Not to redo the whole parking lot.
Any other?
It changed several times, the whole project did, so.
So, was the parking lot damaged, in need of repair, when you guys initially presented the proposal for Harrington to be redone?
No, not damaged.
So there was no need to have it redone at the time?
not for what we put in. So the infrastructure we put in the parking lot, what we had to do for the generators and the upgrade of the infrastructure for the wiring, the new plumbing,
So as a
sewer
result of
line.
tearing up, okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
So what happens is, instead of giving you guys a parking lot that we can go ahead and seal coat and stripe, but you're gonna have a lot of humps in it, cracks, that we, instead of doing that, we looked at the contingency that we did a very good job of. We looking at the amount of money we're gonna have left out of this project and doing very well with it. We looked at giving you guys a total finished project. I know it's been an issue with some projects that took place. Again, I'm very proud of what we've done as a team to make this project very successful as it has been. So we want to give you guys a real nice finished project. So doing this parking lot will make it just like that.
Any other questions? Yes, Trustee Miller.
I remember when you guys presented a few months ago, and I think I asked the question specifically, how were we on track as far as the budget for this project? So even with the additional $155,312.08, how does that impact the budget? Does that put us over the budget? Are we still under the budget, projected budget? Okay.
Good evening. Okay, so let me give you a quick breakdown. I think we go over this every week, but I think this will help kind of bring this full circle here. The board approved contingency for the overall project for a total of $1.7 million, just over that. To date, as of this morning, we've only used 63% of it. So right now, the remaining balance of that is around $633,000, right? And we're almost at the completion date at this point in the project. With that, as a team here, we built in allowances within the contractor's contracts. We have not really touched these whatsoever. So with that, it was around $665,000. We've only used 38% of that. So that's around $412,000, a little more left. And as of today, if we were to give project ended today and give a credit back once we reconcile with everybody, it was around just over $1 million back into the bond.
Oh, wow.
And that's accounting, the $155,000 is already accounted for, and that would be what's returning if today was, the very last day. But that's how we're tracking right now, what's coming back into the bond once everything's, completed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
What's your name, sir?
Cody Farber.
Cody?
Yeah.
I am excited to hear percentages and numbers. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that very specific data. Thank you
You're welcome.
very much.
Okay.
Yes, I do have a question.
All right.
You all set?
Yes, I'm good.
Will this change any of the dates where possible completion?
No.
That's all I need to hear. And you put up a new hoop with rims in? I'm just No, Mar, you're not good. I'm just kidding, Mar.
All right.
We need a little humor at this time of night.
You want me to?
Just a statement, not a question. Thank you all so much. We've had the opportunity to tour the building, and this is prior to the completion, of course, of the parking lot. So I think this will just be the cherry on top. And thank you all so much for the diligent work, because it's going to feel like a new home for our babies.
Very excited about this project. So you guys want to come back again, you're more than welcome. We can walk you through again. Yeah, whenever you're ready, just let me know.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to walk you through.
Thank you.
Very proud of the project.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next.
Yeah, one more, don't they?
Yep. You got one more?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Okay, Seegers.
Good evening. This is the fourth amendment to the custodial services contract with Grand Rapids Building Services, GRBS. The district is currently undergoing a restructuring of its custodial operations, including the elimination of certain in-house custodial positions as part of broader efforts to streamline operations, reduce costs, and increase efficiency. In this context, rescinding the contract with GRBS presents a strategic, operationally sound decision that aligns with the district's goals for long-term sustainability and high-quality facility maintenance. GRBS has a proven track record in providing reliable, professional custodial services to the district. Their experience in managing large-scale custodial operations ensures continuity of services, particularly during this transitional period when the district is phasing out its own custodial positions. By allowing GRBS to assume responsibility for these duties, the district can ensure that there is no lapse in service or cleanliness standards, which are critical to maintaining safe, healthy learning environments for students and staff, and allows the district to focus its internal resources on its core mission, educating students. The attached amendment will extend the GRBS contract for 3 years from July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2028 at a cost of $2,278,944 annually. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve to modify the contract with GRBS from July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2028 in an amount not to exceed $2,278,944 per year. Mr. Beasley and I have been working diligently with GRBS to come up with a plan to transition some of the district custodians into a framework with GRBS. We estimate that the total savings for the district as a result of this transition is going to be approximately a little over $1 million per year savings. And I want to thank the facilities department and coming up with some creative ways and the business office in assisting me in negotiating this agreement. I think this will be a very good fiscal decision for the district.
Thank you. Questions? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the information. For clarity, why are we going into contract with any vendor for 3 years? Is that a requirement from them, or did we just choose that? I have this two-part question, so you'd like to answer that first. Why are we solidifying a 3-year contract with a vendor?
We've had a 3-year contract with them before, and we've been into 1-year extensions, but they wanted a little longer commitment in light of the kind of commitment they're making to the district. They're going to be handling all of our custodial services.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. My second part to that is, the way it's written here and what I'm reading is that, now you just said they're handling all of our custodial services. And right here is saying the district is currently undergoing a restructuring of its custodial operations, including the elimination of certain in-house. So is it certain, meaning that we'll still staff some in-house, or are they taking care of all of our custodians? Because it's contradicting what you're saying, based on what's written right here.
They're taking care of all custodians. But I wanted to be clear that there's part of our maintenance staff that aren't custodians. For instance, Mr. Beasley is not a custodian, and nor is his assistant, Harriet Smith. So hopefully that answers your question.
Not really, because for me, it's just the wording. If we have to vote on something, I would like the wording to be precise and consistent with exactly what you're saying. And to me, that's still a little bit conflicting. If someone else was to pick this bear up and read it, it's a bit confusing.
Let me clarify for you, and we can change the wording of it if you like. There will be no custodians employed by the Pontiac School District. They will all be employed by GRBS.
Any other questions?
Comment. I do have a question. And Mr. Beasley and I talk all the time, and you are satisfied with the work that they're doing, because you wouldn't be presenting this, right?
Yes, correct.
And there's a possibility, a strong possibility or probability, that some of our laid-off maintenance people may be able to work with them through this current.
All our current in-house employees have the opportunity to go work for the company.
Go work for them, and they can come back and keep their own same positions. With this company, how reactive are they to you as it pertains to your leaderships and expectations?
Immediately, I'm very firm.
Oh, you are. I hear you on the phone when I'm talking to you. But you've not had any issues with them not completing or attempting to complete or doing the job to your expectations and what needs to be done in the district?
No, they have staffed a director that runs half the state directly to me to make sure our account is very satisfied with the needs we need for this. We have a lot of demands in our district, to be honest with you, so I make sure they're fulfilled on a daily basis.
Okay. Then my last question, how does this affect the amounts of supplies that we utilize, or will it affect?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It'll be a wash.
Thanks.
There's a form attached to the bear, which is an evaluation form that Mr. Beasley did, and he gave him a very good evaluation.
Oh, listen, let me tell you, Mr. Seeley, for the last few years or so, I will not approve any maintenance contract unless I've spoken with him and he's satisfied with it. And if he came to me, okay. And we discussed this beforehand. When I read this, hey, Marv, what do you think? Because he's the one that's dealing with them. I'm not there every day. So I make sure that I have this conversation with him, that if he's satisfied with it or want to make some changes, then let's bring it to the table. And the question to ask is, this company is not supplying any supplies. We still purchase the
They were
supplies.
supplying. They were supplying supplies now.
They'll supply the supplies. If you, okay,
I still have control of making sure they had the right amount that we need. So we still have that authority over the company to make
so
sure
that's
everything we
included
need.
in the $2 million.
Yes.
As with supply.
All equipment, everything.
Oh, I
Hours
see the
worked.
savings because I know that based on the cuts that we had to make. I just want to make sure you were satisfied.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is to the chair or Dr. Leverett. As we continue to outsource our services, where does that put us as a solid district?
You'd have to clarify what you mean as a solid district, but as a district that is looking to maintain fiscal and financial responsibility and to maintain our integrity in terms of that, Trustee Dooley, I would say that is, though, these are the tough decisions that have to be made to make sure that we are financially where we need to be, and outsourcing is one of those options.
Any other questions regarding the GRBS contract? All right, hearing none, moving down to action items. Can I get a motion for the approval of Harrington Elementary School's infrastructure upgrades?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman, for the approval of Harrington Elementary School's infrastructure upgrades, asphalt paving. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman. I'm sorry, VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of the GRBS contract?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman, for the approval of GRBS contract. Any questions?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Comment, more or less.
Okay.
I'm not supporting the inconsistency with what was said and what is written. For me, everything that we are going to abide by has to be written in black and white, and what I'm reading versus what is being told to me is two completely different things, and I can't support it unless those two things align. So to protect this district.
Okay, any other comments? Roll call, please.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
No.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
No.
And Trustee Gross.
Yes.
That passes 5-2.
All right, thank you very much. That was the last thing until now. Nope. Moving down, we have communications, petitions, and delegations. VP?
We have one.
Okay.
Your request to address the Pontiac Board of Education for 3 minutes is granted, with your commitment that all of your comments will be delivered with courtesy and civility. Failure to do so will result in forfeiture of your allotted time. Asher Todorkowski.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Recently, I became involved with a group in Pontiac and Waterford, a human rights group, and while we were talking in our group, it came to my attention, someone told me that the Pontiac school board passed a resolution to protect its students from being apprehended in class. Correct me if I'm wrong, is that what happened? Well, you guys are at the forefront. I want to congratulate you. And we want to do the same thing with municipalities. So we're going to pick some key people, you guys will be at the front, but I want this to snowball to protect all, not citizens, all people, if they're in the United States. And we have written up something, and we're going to take it to the municipalities. But what I wanted to do is, I came here, I want to share this with you, and then I want to see your resolution too, see if we left things out, just to, you know, it's always better, two heads than one, you know. But that's basically it. So if I can give this to you, and then I can get a paper of what you guys did here, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Bring it to you?
You can bring it to me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on down to board comments and announcements. Thank you. I think I got your email too.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, because I
Yep, so we'll be in touch. We'll start over here with Trustee Miller.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for sticking it in with us for our board meeting tonight. We had a lot of important topics to discuss. First thing, I want to congratulate our students at Kennedy. I see greatness in all of our students, but it's just something that just, warms your heart when you see the students that come in here and are acknowledged. So I really appreciate that. Whomever left the book bags, thank you for the book bags. I personally love book bags, and I want to promise whomever left it will be greatly appreciated and very much so used.
Love it.
I want to send a thank you to the Pontiac Alumni Association, for them supporting our students with their post-secondary achievements. The $20,000 or any amount that's donated to our students to help them move forward with whatever they choose after high school is great. As a parent, I greatly appreciate that. And as a board member, thank you for providing that service to our students. Let's see. Thank you to our elected officials, State Representative Brenda Carter and Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford for attending and providing updates on upcoming events and important information regarding this district and the city of Pontiac. Anything that you need to know from what they presented, just please locate them on social media, and I'm sure that they can give you the information. I encourage all parents and community members to take advantage of the Enrichment Summer Neighborhood Playground Program. This district and myself personally, we are very excited about this, and we want our students, our children, our parents to utilize this. So please take advantage of this program. I also want to give another shout out to the class of our graduates from PHS and ITA class of 2025. When I tell you, I was up there so proud of our kids, y'all don't even understand. And what made me slightly upset is when I read in the newspaper or what have you, when they said the Pontiac school. No, let me clarify for everybody listening. That was not PHS or ITA. That was a school that's located in Pontiac, but not up underneath this board. So, and I'm giving that to credit how well behaved, how excited our students were, both at PHS and ITA. And as a parent, as a board member, they made me proud. So don't take nothing away from our students here with Pontiac School District by implicating that we had some issues at our graduation, because last time I checked, we didn't. And I was there for the entire time. The one representative from the Pontiac Alumni Association made a comment that really set home with me. He said, the heart and soul is in our youth. And most definitely, the heart and soul is in our youth. And I am excited to hear new ideas and excited to move this district forward so that we can bring more to our students, because they are our future and they are the heart and soul of this community, of this city, and this district. Have a great evening, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Secretary Davis Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Like Trustee Miller said, I wanted to congratulate our Kennedy students as well as our students that received scholarships. I was so happy to see the Pontiac middle school kids got to go to Washington, D.C., and when I saw the pictures of how happy they looked, it was all worth it. So thank you, everyone who did help to get them there. Congratulations to our 8th grade students. They graduated today and we missed it because we were here. But congratulations, Baden, and all of the 8th graders that has graduated today. Also, I got a chance to see our 8th grade sneaker ball, and they did such a great job. It looked so cute in there. And I just love things like that because that gives our kids an incentive to want to get better grades and have better behavior so that they are able to do more things like that. So I just hope that we start doing more things where our kids would say school is fun. Like when I was in school, they need their education, but what will get them up in the morning to go to school? That's what we need, more things for them to be able to do those things. And I'm proud of all of our kids here in Pontiac that graduated this year and that's moving on. A lot of our students are not just going to college, but they're going to trade schools and they're doing things. I have helped a couple students to get their LLC and start their own business. So I'm just proud of our kids because they do the most. So I just want everybody to be safe this summer. Remember to read to your kids, and just have a great safe summer. Good night.
Thank you. Trustee Dooley?
Good evening, everyone. In my effort to be transparent and accountable to those 7,617 voters that put me in this seat, however, I do represent all educational stakeholders, let's be clear. I received an article that stated I did not support our teachers. I want to go on record and say that would not be true. However, I did vote no on that contract, reason being, I can't understand how a teacher would not be evaluated and how they don't go to professional developments. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I just want teachers to know that I do support you because I am a lifelong teacher. I'm also a member of Michigan Education Association and the National Education Association. So I do support you in your endeavors. Also, I have been asked why I take the position of a bunch of no's on my votes. Well, it's a lack of alignment of resources for me. I am still not satisfied with the presentation of the budget to me. So therefore, I utilize my right to choose to say no. So I'm trying to give you an explanation as to what's going on with me. Certainly, I want to, as we talk about alignment of resources, to those persons that have been calling me and wondering, I am still asking questions and making inquiries as to how we can support our security to make sure that our students will be provided with adequate security and staffing of those security guards, as well as everybody that's in the building, internal and external, that they are provided with safety and that they can come into a learning environment that is certainly conducive for learning, but also safe. And the attendance. The attendance, I'm not clear with that attendance about how you want your teachers to do that. Teachers are already inundated with a lot of stuff to do. So to add that to their plate, I don't think that would be fair. So I am still pushing that attendance piece. And also a shout out to Donovan Johnson, who was here tonight as a Kennedy graduate, and to all our graduates. And as Trustee Miller said, it was nice to see them. But I think it was really great that we're inclusive of all students. All students. And that makes parents feel well too, because they're already dealing with challenges of having a challenged child. So with that being said, I'm certainly happy to be part of the school district. Hadn't seen my colleagues in a couple of weeks. It seemed like a long time. So we're back and we are here to do the work of the district. With that, I say good night.
Thank you very much. Trustee Gross?
Thank you. Good evening, all. It won't be long. What a meeting. A lot of stuff to approve. It's been a long time since we approved those many items, but I'm glad that we're getting this stuff done. I want to give a shout out to former board trustee Troy Kraft. We had the opportunity this weekend to go over to Pontiac Park, better known as Thank you. That's for all you Pontiacers. He brought softball back, adult softball, and it was the mixed league. And both myself and my sister had the opportunity to show our skills in umpiring. No, I didn't play. But we were involved as kids and to see what he's doing out there. And it's about 7 or 8 teams. And you want to talk about a good time. It was hot, but we had a good time. And to see everyone involved, barbecue pits, bouncies, and everything. So I commend him on his projects. And he's also having the itty bitty basketball program starting up soon here. So he's still active out there, and I want to commend and thank him. I want to thank whoever gave us these. Somebody tell me who gave us these backpacks. They're just in the chair. Ain't nobody gonna tell me?
Staff appreciation.
I didn't hear that, Miss.
Staff appreciation? Yes.
Staff appreciation. Good looking out, Dr. Leverett.
Thank you.
I'm a backpack man, and I really love taking my backpacks. Now that I got because my wife went out and bought me one. I can put that one up and use this, but that bad boy is nice. And when we go on our excursions, and I appreciate the gifts that you give us. It's not necessary, but appreciated. Also, let's continue to, Ms. Wright, I appreciate you in sharing the information, because I had no knowledge of what was going on, and I was getting text messages and people asking me, is that your school? Is that your school? And sometimes we have to be cautious. And I actually, based on the photos that I saw, I knew the young men that were actually involved in that incident. Yep. And so it's time that we have to stop this madness and start celebrating each other, because that's getting ridiculous, because it doesn't make it right because you're angry. You think you can do, the issue is not getting angry. Anger is another emotion. Where we run into problems is what we do when we get angry. I don't have the right to pull a gun and go after somebody because I'm mad at you. And we got to speak on that. Thank you again, Ms. Wright, for sharing that information. It wasn't us, and I was able to share that information out to the community. Thank you, Heidi. Wasn't Pontiac School District. We've been talking about these things. Been things like that in the past that has happened. Not this time, no. And lastly, I'm part of the School Improvement Committee, and I've had a conversation with our chair. And there's some things that we're going to talk about over the summer. So I think it's, because learning doesn't stop just because it's a summer break. Right. And so I don't know everyone's vacation time or when you're leaving, when you're coming back, but I'm proposing a couple of meetings over the summer that we can get this thing started and be ready for the school of the year in the fall. I've already talked with the athletic department, and we're going to come up with a meeting date. I'll let you know the days, Trustee Dooley. And I want to talk to the principals and see when everybody is available so we can talk over the summer to come up with some plans together, what we're going to do to make some changes. I had the opportunity this past year to work my second year as a school truancy liaison. And I work with a lot of districts outside of Pontiac because they say it's a conflict of interest, so I can't work with Pontiac. But all the improvements that I saw based on some of the adjustments that I've made with the outside school districts, I think will benefit our district in attendance. And I've seen attendance improved in Farmington, South Lyon, White Lake, and Commerce Township. And I'm not saying it's because of me, but I am saying it's part of me. And I'm going to take some of that credit because the parents and kids are listening. I think we can implement some of those ideals here. Well, Ms. Dixon, and hopefully your summer you'll be available, and we can go over some things, and that'll be part of our school improvement. No, she doesn't take a break at all. Thank you. I appreciate you all. And lastly, to our students who are here, have a good summer. Our summer school kids, we'll see you at the schools, right? But like I tell my people, promise me one thing, and I say this to this board, have fun. Have fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Terry.
Good evening. I'm gonna be real quick then. If he was quick, I'm gonna be real quick. First off, congratulations to our Kennedy students, the graduates. Big accomplishments, and I hope you do good and better as you continue out there in the real world. Do your thing and let your light so shine. Also want to say thank you to Joe Longhammer and the Joe Longhammer Chevrolet for the partnerships that they gave us over the years, and we pray that can continue to grow and continue to flourish as well. Also want to say thank you to Pontiac Alumni Foundation. It was wonderful seeing the 10 students here receiving those scholarships. Always good information and good details and good facts. Just to know that they are pursuing some, I guess, further education at different colleges throughout the country. So I wish them the best endeavors as they continue as well. And then also want to say congratulations to our awardees, the Matthew Yang, is it Christina Mendoza and Stacy? Oh, actually, take that back. They're retiring. Okay, so congratulations on that retirement. I'm trying to get there one day. But congratulations on that retirement. And I want to say thank you for the reports that we received. Good information as well. And then as always, lots of good discussions. I want to say thank you also to my board members as well for hanging in there. I know this was kind of a long meeting, but you know, information is power. And the best way we can make the, I guess, best decisions is to know everything that we need to know to make that vote when that time comes. Other than that, I guess enjoy your summer. If I don't hear from you again, I do plan on being on vacation, taking some time off for the summer. We have been working quite hard, I would say. But, you know, let's I guess, re-energize ourselves, and power back up and get ready for the next school year as we do face, I guess, additional challenges as we continue to move forward. So thank you. That's all that I have for tonight. Have a good night.
Thank you. VP Bowman.
I won't be long, but I do want to say congratulations to our students who've graduated in the year of 2025. 2025 has been a very interesting year thus far, and I'm glad for the wind down. We have a few more meetings, but I'm glad we're at the end of this school year. We need the break, every single one of us. Thank you to my trustees for doing the hard work, because again, even sitting here on the board, getting used to one another and working together, that has been a challenge in itself, but I'm glad that we've turned the page and we're moving forward. I just want everyone to know that this job, this position is of service. We serve our community, and we don't take it lightly, the things that you all do for us and for our students. We know oftentimes it can be a thankless job, but I say thank you. Thank you to all of you who choose to work in the Pontiac School District, because you can be anywhere in the world, but you choose to continue to be here with us, and I thank you for that. We know that this space is not perfect, but we serve a community, and we do it with our best foot forward. I'm grateful to serve, and I'm grateful for my colleagues, and just know that the decisions that are made by, I can only speak for myself, the decisions that I make, that we make, I'll say we, they're for the best. They're for the betterment of our community. They're to push us forward and to make sure that the legacy that we leave here is better than how we found it. So I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and know that moving forward in the future decisions that are made are always in the best interest and the safety of the school district of the city of Pontiac. So thank you much. Good night.
All right. Thank you, VP. All right, so Dr. Leverett, administration, teachers, staff, we almost there. This is the last week of school. And I know y'all are probably counting down the days, just like the kids are probably counting down the days too. But I want to say thank you for hanging in there, all the work that you guys have done this school year. We truly appreciate it. So almost there, we count down. But again, I just wanted to acknowledge you all for what you have done and just tell you thank you for that. A special thank you to Miss Rush. She came to us and she was committed, and she said that those students for the Pontiac Middle School that had signed up to go to Washington, D.C., it was going to happen. So despite her roadblocks, despite the challenges, she made it happen. So when I saw those pictures come across, it made my heart proud because God answered her prayers. So I thank you, Ms. Rush, for your commitment and your dedication to those students because you made it happen for them. Congratulations again to the class of 2025, especially to our Kennedy graduates that were here today. Ms. Shields, you and your team, it doesn't go unnoticed, the love and the compassion that you have for those students. I think most importantly, just the love you wrap around their parents. So I thank you for all that you do for them. Just wanted to reiterate the Juneteenth parade that was stated. It will happen on Saturday, June the 14th at 3 p.m. downtown Pontiac. Just everybody, don't forget. Terry and the Pontiac Alumni Foundation, thank you so much for this opportunities that you are awarding our students. I don't know the last time we've seen so many scholarship recipients come through. So I appreciate the support that you're giving to our students so that we can make sure that they're off to a good start after they've graduated high school. I want to also thank Joe Longhammer for their partnership. As you mentioned, it's been 10 years. We need partners like that, and we appreciate them sticking with us despite our challenges and just really being dedicated and committed to our students here in the district. So thank you, and to the parents and teachers that you support through also through your initiative. So thank you very much. I'm trying to, before we go, this partnership with the city, it's been a long time coming, and despite the city is one entity, the district is another one. I'm happy to see that we are able to work together to show that we are one community. And so I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a lot more, and that we are able to make sure that we're sticking by that. This is one community, so we have to support all of our students within it. And I'm happy that we were able to do it through this playground initiative. That is all that I have for tonight. So if I can get a motion to adjourn this meeting. It's been moved by Trustee Dooley and supported by VP Bowman to adjourn this meeting. Any questions?
It's like, no, I'm joking.
Roll call.
Trustee.
All right, roll call. Secretary Davis Smith.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
No, I'm just, yes.
And President Hannah.
Yes.
I gotta wake y'all up again.
That passes 7-0.
All right, the time is now 9:41 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.
Trustee Dooley, before you run out of